Census building is also here. VRA begins annual sensitization of stakeholders along the lower Volta Basin. Banking sector bouncing back after DDEP UPSA dawn, and press pleads with SDA to rethink its decision on December 7th voting day. That is the front page of the Chronicle.
I have the new Crusading Guide. Call for dissolution of the board. UTAG members have no lookers as they don't contribute to SNIT. Also, Gamanche vows continued efforts for clean and healthy Accra. And Ghana First Company announces release of Clean Ghana Sanitation Project facilities. And this one, tension at GRA over changes, alleged power play in Customs Division.
Supreme newspaper. Kufuor highlights educational achievements of his administration. KGL Group hosts Lunachi Director General in familiarization visits. Menchia South, massive win for lawyer Nana J. Bafo Ewua. You have an unparalleled record as VIP, regent of Mion, rallies support for Baumia. Fosuji Abo's license not renewed for 2024. Legal counsel indicates warns courts against appearances. Gamanche vows continued efforts for clean and healthy Greater Accra.
Okay, and I have the new publisher. Crooks shoots Trump's ear. Crooks shoots Trump's ear, coming from the new finder, hide nothing, fear nothing. As a big story here is SNIT, hotels no more for sale. Jinapo takes over energy ministry. Banking sector picks up pace after DDEP. Prof. Isaac Boydie.
The Daily Graphic, it comes with a picture of the IGP, Dr. Kufu Dampare, says, let's fight fake news. IGP tells traditional media, stop public comment on ambulance trial. Judge warns parties. And NHI releases 135.6 million Ghana cedis to healthcare providers. Organized labor meets today to discuss strike modalities.
Graphic sports. Ahead of Olympics campaign, athletes demand allowances. Are you confident in new Black Stars? And Alcaraz dominates Djokovic.
Okay, the Metro Lines banking sector remains strong 1 year after debt exchange program. Professor Boydie, homework cleanup. Accra will rise and shine again. Gamanche. KGL Group host Lunachi director, and Sami Uku supports beauticians and tailors. That is a Metro Lens.
The Daily Statesman, Kufuor touts educational record. SNIT discontinues sale of 60% stake in hotels. And the big one, Accra Kumasi bypass project in steady progress. And Apostle Kwejo Safo urges peace building in NPP.
Republic Press. Insurance couple busted as top officials, power brokers, are caught in Nigerian High Commission demolition scandal. Brian Echampon storms Esujaman, kickstarts Eastern Region grassroots drive. Kufuor receives 5th honorary doctorate as Valley View University honors him. Let's move on. Napo has apologized. Professor Jampo. FDA destroys expired free SHS mackerel, an unused, unwholesome product in Upper East Region. Kweu in Koko, Methodist JHS, a school building now death trap.
And I have the Daily Satellite, sale of SNIT assets, where were Labour's 4 representatives, and then also Nigeria High Commission demolition. More questions pop up. Top officials cited. Make agriculture compulsory subject in schools, says a businessman. Election 2024, Kwame Bediako goes independent. The records show I deliver on my promises. Dr. Baumia reminds Saguli and also Tatale. And then another story here, making the front page of the Daily Satellite. Ghana Customs Authority makes strides in tertiary education. And then wrongful use of my picture in the unfortunate death of an artist. These are the stories on the front page of the Daily Satellite in service to God and country.
The Daily Democrat this morning, death scare hits NPP in Eastern Region over use of eggs and black stool to swear. Also, Joyce Bauer says you can't destroy Mahama with misinformation and disinformation. SNIT leadership must go. That's according to Samuel Ekujetua Blakwa. And JEA Atamil's Memorial Heritage Outdoors activities to commemorate 12th anniversary.
Plan B plotted moves to oust SP. after CJ threw out Amidu's petition. Gamanche vows to sustain cleanup efforts. KGL Group hosts Lunachi boss in Ghana. Godfred Oparijan writes, the competent, versatile Napo that I know. And finally, some agenda against John Mahama are gibberish and senseless.
And I have here the informer, nothing but the truth. Labour accuses Pensions Authority of betrayal, declares nationwide strike today. That's concerning the sale of SNIT hotels. And then crime prevention, police urges public vigilance. NAPO apologizes over your Nkrumah comment. Homo cleanup exercise, let's revitalize Accra. Gamanche urges residents. And the big story on the front page of the informer, Trump attack, no violence in democracy, America declares. And then World Refraction Error Day. Capture spectacles on NHIS. Optometric Association cries out.
The Daily Dispatch is the final one I have this morning. It says, compare records of NPP and NDC before you vote in December. That is from Dr. Baumia. Akufo-Addo introduced free SHS in Ghana, not Mahama. That's from Professor Ejekum. And Jogate Committee on Black Shield on final review.
The informer. Sale of SNIT hotels. Labour accuses Pensions Authority of betrayal. Declares nationwide strike today. Trump attack. No violence in democracy. America declares. NAPO apologizes over Nkrumah comments. Then the last one. Crime prevention. Police urges public vigilance.
Okay, let's go online. And I think we've done the papers. Online, let's start with our very own zmultimedia.com, the homepage. Health Minister highlights high HIV/AIDS rates among prison inmates. Okay. And then also zmultimedia.com carried another story here. SNIT cancels hotel sales. It's also here. And then there are also Ghana International Petroleum Confab set to drive industry growth. Ghana Mancha warns of sanctions against sanitation violators in Accra. MPP find worthy allies in churches. Dr. Prempe, Finance Minister, to present media budget on July 23rd. Ghana can supply raw materials to bosses to $25 billion export production. That is Yana. Okay. Going elsewhere, mindjoyonline.com. Let's see what it says. The big story here: brace for 4% surge in fuel prices starting July 16th. That's tomorrow. COPEC warns brace for 4% surge in fuel prices starting July 16th. That's a big story on the homepage of mindjoyonline.com. Also, citynewsroom.com is also here. I have achieved more than Mahama. I'll do more if elected president. That's from Baumia. And then let's go international. BBC, of course, definitely was the biggest story international. Tragedy at Trump rally appends election campaign. For now, Trump says he will bring country together at Republican convention after shooting. And then there's a video showing how the gunman shot at Trump despite public alerting the police. And then Biden urges America to lower temperature after Trump shooting. So yes, BBC is all about Trump. Trump arrives for Republican convention. Is also here. Thomas Matthew Crooks, what we know about the Trump attacker. The crook with the name Crooks. Anyway, Bolly.
Yeah. We'll talk about SNIT because it's the most topical one. Let me take a bit of the story as captured in the New Finder this morning. It says the Social Security and National Insurance Trust strategic overhaul of its investment portfolio plan has been endangered by opposition to the sale of 60% shares in 4 hotels, forcing the trust to cancel the offloading of shares. The plan aims to significantly increase its allocation to fixed income investments while reducing its stake in equities and alternative investments. So this is just a bit about the now cancelled transaction, and it had to take that much of mobilization from organized labor. Why did we wait for so long to get to this point? You know, was the question I was asking when I saw the letter signed by the chair of the SNIT board, Madam Elizabeth Ohene. You know, it was strange looking at how organized labor mobilized its members, issuing statement after statement. And it was at a point I was like, okay, where is this heading to? Are we really going to have a country where nobody will be going to work except Jerry on Monday? And then the letter came in and the concern was, okay, that letter is not signed. In fact, the first thing that came in, Jerry, was Rock City opting out. Saying
that's the first one you saw. I mean, I actually saw the organized labor one first.
No. I think in terms of response to the organized labor threat of industrial action.
Oh, okay. So you think Rock City's response was, okay, they wrote in response to the organized labor.
No, so I'm saying that right after that letter from organized labor and the other unions, the first major thing in terms of meeting their demand was the Rock City withdrawal. And then they're like, no, it's not enough. What we're asking for is the complete termination. And then SNIT comes in with that statement. But did we really have to get to this point? Because I don't think anybody would be confused or was confused about organized labor's position since that story broke about the sale of the 60% shares in SNIT hotels. They were very definite that we do not want this to happen, cancel it. And I think what broke the camel's back was that information in Parliament on Thursday by the Employment and Labour Relations Minister that the MPRA, which had asked SNIT to put the sale on hold, has now approved that sale. It tells you the power of unity and togetherness. And I'm wondering if organized labor could have achieved this if their membership was fragmented and they didn't have that unity of purpose. You know, so kudos to organized labor. We need to know the next line of action after what they asked for was given to them. I understand that they'll be meeting today, and there's a possible news conference to communicate their next line of action. So we'll be waiting for that, but it's a victory for people, I should say.
Yeah, but then the front page of the Finder doesn't make it look like a victory.
I'm saying on the part of organized labor, a victory
for them. Victory for them.
Yeah. Because we've heard the NPP communications director, Richard Hagba, saying that it jeopardizes, in fact, the hotels in and of themselves are making losses. That's the argument that SNIT has had since.
Exactly.
But then there are counter arguments. You spoke to Michael Harry Yamson the other time, and he says that post-COVID, the tourism industry was one of the most vibrant that was able to pick up so soon after. Hotels play a very important role in that sector. And so for you to make the argument that the hotels are not making profits, for a hotel strategically positioned like Labadi Beach, La Palme, you know, it's strange to hear that. Why not change management? Why are you selling the shares? So it's here and there, really, Jerry.
It's true. I mean, but the sale cancelled. Rock City, we won't buy again. We no go do again. We're back to square one. But the alternatives always the alternatives. So let's see what happens. Like you're saying, let's see how this goes. Ms. Ima, any? I like that, Mr. Ima. Mr. Watson, what's up? Any other story that excites? Now, before you're thinking, let me give you this one. So I go on Facebook over the weekend. Then I see this video of these gentlemen on one. I think there were three of them. Two were on one motorbike. One was on one motorbike alone, and he was the one apparently doing the video. And actually, they are declaring that they are like robbers, and they will rob you. And then whilst you're talking, there was a truck coming, and they said they thought it was a motor, otherwise they would have robbed him and all that. And then for some reason, I said, let me just read the comments under this video. And when I say all, I mean 100% of the comments I saw was all tagged Ghana police, Ghana police, Ghana. So people go like, Ghana police, you have a mixed call. Ghana police, would you pick these people up? Ghana police, Ghana police. And then this morning, it is on the front pages. Police urges public vigilance. They've gotten the guys. Actually, over the weekend, I think by Sunday, the police had gotten the guys already and they had placed them there. Now, that for me is proactive. And that for me also tells you the power of social media. The same platform you went to misbehave on is the same platform that was used to inform the Ghana police, and bam. I saw 3 in the video, but when the whatever came out, the Ghana police report came, 4 had been arrested.
But I want to know the motivation behind that video, deciding that you video yourself
about to commit a crime or bragging that you commit crimes.
That this is who I am.
Yeah.
You know.
He started by giving us a time of day. He said it was 2 a.m. and they are in town.
Was it for content creation? Because Seriously, I'm at a loss. I do not understand.
Content creation.
Yeah, because people do things,
Yeah,
many things in the name of content creation.
This Sunday, I'm driving away from church with my kids, and then we saw a fight, a full-blown fight on the major road, Dansuman Highway Road, full-blown fight. And so we park and then we're looking at the thing in panic, like, what is happening? And guess what? There was a guy holding the camera, a very good camera with a nice stand. And I told my kids, let's go. They said, why? I said, it's content. You're creating content. The guys had created a whole fight. They were screaming, all for content. So probably you're right. They're trying to create content. But apparently I'm told they said they were under influence. Interested, eh? The things we do for content in this day, you should be careful. The Ghana police is as active on social media as you are,
and they have to, because everything happens on social media nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, so it's the same platform. You go and misbehave, and hey, boom, you are there. Charlie, any thoughts? Donald Trump shot in the ears. We have just a minute to go.
Yeah, I think that the way they handle, and I'm talking about Democrats and Republicans, handle this could determine the outcome of the November elections.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not forget, this is not the first attempted assassination of a U.S. president or former president. It has happened before. And I think that they have to be careful because it's a failed attempt. I read the person was killed in
the next person will succeed.
We don't know what is going to happen next, so they should be careful.
Yeah.
And I think Donald Trump must start speaking to unite the people.
Exactly.
I think so.
He's
Very
a divisive figure.
very
he must start
divisive
speaking
guy.
to unite the people because, well, from my point of view, he stands tall. And
he looks like this is his election to lose.
Yes.
So he shouldn't go into...
And some of these things should not come before.
But it was also impressive the way Biden came out, condemned the thing and all that, and said he was happy
Because
Trump was
he
well.
has put himself as a unifier.
Yeah.
And then he needs to live.
And I think that's what America needs now.
Yeah. Bring them together. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Boateng Boliboti from our newsroom. Mr. Boateng from our research desk. Thank you for coming through. It's 10 minutes to 7. He's here. He's Lukman. He's evergreen, and he's moving to give us Z Sports.
The stage is set for something special.
It is time to go racing.
Garnacho! Oh wow! Oh wow! LeBron James with no regard for human life.
You couldn't write a script like this.
Here's Metz, and this is positive. Williams, Kudus, a Korean joy did not last for long.
Oh my gosh, Kudus.
Set back for Partey. Oh yes! Oh yes, Thomas Partey.
Hello, good morning. It's time for Z Sports on Zed in the Morning. My name is Lukman Evergreen Moment. And of course, it was Spanish delight over the weekend from football to tennis. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to come home for the English teams. But then there was an issue with Jasmine Paolini. Unfortunately for her, she didn't win the Wimbledon Championship. We also have some news from the Copa America as well as some transfers involving Ghanaian players. But then I have Mr. Jerry Ham here, a big fan of England, I suppose. What happened yesterday?
It's not like I'm a big fan of England. I'm a big fan of Jude Bellingham, so they losing is my worry. Apart from that, I mean, Charlie, listen, the best team won. Nico is going to hold up this, but Charlie, tough weekend, man. Tough weekend. The Ghana lady didn't win Wimbledon. Yeah. My guy didn't get to win so that I can shout that he's gotten a Ballon d'Or. And then Colombia also didn't do any justice. So yeah, I mean, Charlie, terrible weekend.
Wow, that was really tough for Mr. Jerry over there. But then, yes, it was a very good weekend for Spanish football. But then Peter Drury had a very good way of summarizing everything that happened.
Spain, champions of Europe yet again, and the best team won it. Once more, this zestful football nation has come to the party and danced the most beautiful dance. They are show business. They're young, they're fresh, they're free, they're champions, and England are crestfallen. played 7, won 7. The beautiful smile of youth, the beautiful football of this Iberian nation, which has decorated the tournament and which now has won the tournament.
What a way to describe what happened last night. Perfect description for the Spanish national team. Now, England's quest to end 58 years of pain and disappointment ended in failure as they were beaten by Spain in the Euro 2024 final at Berlin's Olympia Stadion. Now, Nico Williams opened the scoring for Spain after meeting a Lamine Yamal cross before Cole Palmer leveled just 2 minutes after coming on. However, England's hopes were dashed after Mikel Oyarzabal scored with 4 minutes remaining to win the title for Spain. Now, Spain have won the European Championship 4 times and are undisputed on the ladder of success in Europe. Jude Bellingham, the star of the team, was left heartbroken after the match.
Yeah, really difficult. I think we sacrificed a lot throughout the last weeks. You know, it's so tough these days with the crazy schedules and then coming together for the end of the season. For one last tournament, it's difficult on the body, you know, mentally, physically you're exhausted, but for our country we're wanting to give everything, and then yeah, to lose in that way is really cruel, you know. Again, we probably didn't play our best game, but there was definitely some good moments, and we felt like we got back into the game, and then to kind of be sucker punched with the late goal, it's heartbreaking. We all wanted nothing more than to make history and to make the
Also, it's heartbreaking for England in that game against Spain. Well, talking about the players that distinguished themselves at the tournament, Lamine Yamal was named Young Player of the tournament. Dani Olmo won the Golden Boot with Manchester City's Rodri winning the Player of the tournament. Now, Manchester United legend and former England international Rio Ferdinand believes players were mostly played out of position, claiming Harry Kane struggled because of how the team lined up for their matches.
Whatever level they are, play your players in the best possible positions that suit them, that benefit them. I think I'll give you 2 players, good examples here. Kane, I think he's played in a position after scoring 40-something goals this season at Bayern. He's played in this team in a way that doesn't suit him, that doesn't benefit him, I don't think. And you can all talk about how good or bad he's played, but you need to play to people's strengths. Switch that over to Cucurella, who this year was ridiculed by his own supporters at Chelsea, but comes here and arguably the best left back in the tournament, because he was played to his strengths.
Well, that was Rio Ferdinand speaking after the game between England and then Spain. Well, away from European football to some Copa America football. Now, Argentina beat Colombia to win a record 16th Copa America title. Now, Lautaro Martinez struck in the second half of extra time from Giovanni Lo Celso's through ball to secure the victory for Argentina. Lionel Messi left the pitch in tears after sustaining an injury in the game, but then later he had to smile because they won the Copa America for the second successive year. Meanwhile, Uruguay finished third after a 4-3 penalty shootout victory over Canada following Luis Suarez's dramatic injury time equalizer. And to some transfer news, Manchester United have signed Bologna and Netherlands strikers Joshua Zexi in a deal worth £36.5 million. The 23-year-old has signed a 5-year contract at Old Trafford with the option of a further 12 months. Away to some tennis news, and Carlos Alcaraz powered to victory over an out-of-sorts Novak Djokovic to retain the men's single title at Wimbledon. Although the players on show made this a repeat of last year's final, they failed to live up to the 5-set thriller of 12 months ago as Djokovic appeared mostly hapless against the dominant Spaniard. Alcaraz has now won back-to-back Grand Slam titles this year. Remember, early this year he won the French Open and has now won the Wimbledon title. He was so excited after that match.
Well, honestly, I'm it is a dream for me winning this trophy. Yeah, I think an interview when I was 12 or 11 years old, I said that my dream is to win Wimbledon. So I'm repeating, you know, my dream. I want to keep going, but obviously it's a great feeling to play in this court, in this beautiful court, to live this amazing trophy. I'm gonna say, or I said it before that for me this is the most beautiful tournament, the most beautiful court, and obviously the most beautiful.
That was Carlos Alcaraz speaking after his victory over Novak Djokovic. Meanwhile, in the women's category, Barbora Krejcikova held off a charge from Yasmin Paolini in a gripping final to claim her second Grand Slam singles title. Now, Paolini, who has Ghanaian heritage, remains positive despite back-to-back Grand Slam defeats.
I hope so. Today I'm a little bit sad. I try to keep smiling because I have to remember that today it's still a good day. I did finally Wimbledon. I was looking at the TV as a kid, looking at the finals, cheering for Federer, I have to say. And to be here right now, it's crazy, and I think I enjoyed every moment here. Yeah, it's been a beautiful 2 weeks. I want to thank you everybody who made this tournament possible, the ball kids, the referees, the LTA, I don't know, everybody. I'm going to forget somebody, but...
Also, that was Yasmin Paolini speaking after her defeat to Barbora Krejcikova. Well, interestingly, all these players from Alcaraz, Novak Djokovic, and Yasmin Paolini, they will all be in Paris for the Olympic Games. Now, to some local football news, and Ghana's Black Queens suffered a 4-0 defeat to Japan in an international friendly in Tokyo on Saturday at the Kanazawa Gogokari Stadium. The Black Queens, who were reduced to 10 women actually, halfway through the first half, succumbed to pressure in the second half as they conceded all 4 goals after the break. And in the Ghana Premier League, Accra House of Folk have decided to end their pursuit of Dreams FC goalkeeper Solomon Agbasi. Agbasi, who had an impressive campaign in the CAF Confederations Cup last season, is reportedly interested in a move abroad. Meanwhile, the Phobians have announced the signing of centre-back Michael Mensah Ewua on a 3-year deal, making him their second signing in the transfer window. The 23-year-old joins the Ghanaian Giants from Nations FC in the summer transfer window. And FC Samatex have extended goalkeeper Kofi Bar's contract for another year following a standout season with the newly crowned Ghana Premier League champion. Last season, he kept 14 clean sheets out of 28 matches. And finally, Saint Etienne have completed the signing of Ghanaian midfielder Augustin Boachi from Wolfsberger AC. Boachi signed a 4-year deal to join the Ligue 1 returnees. Well, that will be all for sports this morning. Up next is business news with Abdullahi Saka. My name is Lukman Evergreen Moment.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Hello there, it is time for business news here on Zed. In the morning, I am Saka Abdullahi. Coming up, SNIT Director General reassures contributors of the scheme's bright future. Treasury bills undersubscribed, CD weekends but stock market gains, and Ecobank Ghana's Million Gang promotion rewards over 5,000 customers and agents. Let's settle for the details. Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT, Kofi Bosompem Osafo-Maafo, has assured contributors and the general public that the scheme is continuously improving and evolving to ensure its long-term viability and success. Speaking recently, Mr. Osafo-Maafo emphasized the significant progress SNIT has made over the years and its commitment to future advancements. He encouraged Ghanaians to have confidence in this trust's sustainability, highlighting that significant steps are being taken to ensure SNIT thrives in the marketplace. Addressing concerns about the scheme's financial stability, Mr. Osafo-Maafo dismissed any notion that SNIT is running out of funds.
We are constantly improving. The SNIT of 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago is very different from the SNIT today. And 5 years into the future, SNIT will also be a totally different animal in terms of the way we operate. So you should be rest assured that we are going to be around. We are taking some very significant steps to ensure that we thrive in this marketplace. We don't just want to survive. We intend to thrive, and we are. And the whole idea that we are running out of funds is not something that we even consider. We continue to make changes. We are expanding coverage. As you all know, SNIT is a partially funded scheme, and so it's funded from contributions from the current contributors and future contributors, and also investment returns to balance. Currently, we've increased self-employed enrollment significantly. We've deactivated pensioners who have passed on from the system, saving us approximately 519 million. We call them ghost pensioners, but essentially is ensuring that those who have passed on, given that we have a sort of a paper system out there with regards to deaths and births, we ensure that we deactivate all the pensioners that pass on, and significant savings are being made there. We've been very successful at bringing on new contributors. We are also dealing with the issue of indebtedness to the trust, both in the private sector and in the government sector. As some of you may be aware, our engagements with the government resulted in the government paying us about 2.5 billion in bonds of arrears. In the private sector and the quasi-government institutions and the SOEs, we are having in place negotiated agreements which are going to ensure that the indebtedness is also met. So if you are here, you are, be it in the formal or informal sector, you are self-employed, the message is join SNIT.
Speaking for the first time since his appointment on the ILO report on SNIT's viability, the Director General reiterated the remarks of his predecessor, saying that projections were misconstrued.
The ILO report is an actuarial valuation which is done every 3 years externally. It gives us a good idea of where the scheme is. And based on some assumptions that they make, and some very good assumptions at that, they give us a good idea of what the future could be. It's based on assumptions. This is nothing new. We've been doing it every 3 years, and it gives us good guidance. And based on that, we adjust what we do, we alter what we do, we implement strategy around that to improve the scheme. And the most recent one which came in the press was the 12th of those. And I think the strap line which everyone picked up was that SNIT was not going to be in business after 2036 and would run out of reserves. Again, that is very far from the truth. In fact, previous reports have suggested that we'll be out of business in 2025. That's next year. And I'm sure you can be very confident we'll be here. And you should be very confident that we'll be here beyond 2036. Other reports have suggested 2034, and the goalposts keep moving. But for us, it's a good guide to look at the way we do things and improve them.
You heard the Director General of SNIT, Mr. Kofi Bosumpim Osafo Mafo. The government successfully raised 4.49 billion Ghana cedis from the issuance of treasury bills, falling slightly short of its target of 4.7 billion Ghana cedis, resulting in an undersubscription rate of 4.93%. Treasury bills remain a crucial tool for the government to manage its short-term liquidity needs and finance various public projects. In the foreign exchange market, the cedi weakened against major currencies including the US dollar, the pound sterling, and the euro. On a positive note, the Ghana Stock Exchange saw gains last week, reflecting investor confidence and positive sentiment in the local equity market. Tessa Capital has more.
Welcome to a recap of the markets, brought to you by Tessa Capital Limited. Investor demand for treasury bills softened compared to the prior week's auction. The government raised 4.49 billion cedis out of the targeted 4.72 billion cedis, resulting in an undersubscription rate of 4.93%. All bids for the 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day treasury bills were accepted during the auction held on Friday. Yields remained steady as the 91-day cleared at 24.79%, the 182-day at 26.75%, and the 364-day bill at 27.78%. Trading volumes on the Ghana fixed income market increased by 26.50% to 3.08 billion cedis in the just ended week. Treasury bills dominated trading activity, accounting for 50.12% of the total volume traded, while the new GOG notes and bonds constituted 23.51% and 26.37% respectively. The Ghana cedi weakened further in the week under review against the three major currencies. The cedi depreciated by 0.32% against the dollar, 1.70% against the British pound, and 1.01% against the euro. The cedi closed the week trading at a mid-rate of 14 cedis 71 pesos to the dollar, 19 cedis 10 pesos to the British pound, and 16 cedis 4 pesos to the euro. Indicative rates from the open market showed the cedi closing at mid-rates of 15 cedis 15 pesos to $1, 19 cedis 53 pesos to 1 British pound, and 16 cedis 42 pesos to 1 euro. The Ghanaian stock market continued its upward trend during the review period, with the GSE Composite Index gaining 3.44%, propelled by gains in Atlantic Lithium Limited, Total Energies, MTN, Benzo Oil Palm Plantation, New Gold, and Fan Milk Limited, which outweighed the declines in Enterprise Group. Atlantic Lithium surged by 8.89% to close at 6 cedis per share. Total rose by 7.10% to close at 12 cedis 37 pesos per share. MTN advanced by 5.79% to 2 cedis 1 peso per share. Benzo Oil Palm Plantation edged up by 3.56% to close at 23 cedis per share. New Gold saw its price increase by 1.88% to 359 cedis 92 pesos. And Fan Milk gained 0.54% to close at 3 cedis 70 pesos per share. On the downside, Enterprise Group was the sole loser, with its share price declining by 31.50% to close the week at 1 cedi 37 pesos per share. The index closed the week at 4,086.54 points, reflecting a year-to-date return of 30.55%. However, trading activity declined, with a total of 2,475,535 shares being traded, amounting to a transaction value of 4.9 million cedis. This marks an 83.10% drop in trading volumes as compared to the previous week. We anticipate the financial stocks and the ICT sector to drive the index's performance in the upcoming week. This brings our review to an end, and from all of us at Tessa Capital, make it a great day. Visit us online at tessacapital.com or call us on 050-154-6859 for more information. Tessa Capital, grow your wealth.
Tessa Capital is a leading financial institution in Ghana, and we thank them for those insightful market updates. EcoBank Ghana's EcoBank Million Gang promotion, a campaign aimed at showing appreciation to the bank's loyal customers, has already rewarded 5,060 customers. The promotion, which was launched with the goal of rewarding over 7 million customers, is set to conclude this month. In an interview with Zed Business, Head of Consumer Products at EcoBank, William Danso-Abiam, outlined the rewards given to customers so far. He highlighted the bank's commitment to appreciating its customers and encouraging them to save and transact digitally.
In all, we are seeking to reward 7,000 of our customers. The first draw saw us reward 2,560. We had a mini draw which also rewarded 1,000 more, and today we are doing 1,500 of our customers. They've all been rewarded, and it's quite exciting for us. Some of the rewards, are in cash. We had 5 people get 10,000 Ghana cedis each. We had 10 people get 5,000 Ghana cedis each. We had 20 people get 2,500. 20 people get 2,000. Then we also had a number of people getting 200 and 250. Then we had a couple of customers also getting airtime as well. So the awards range from cash to fuel and gift vouchers as well as airtime.
That was the head of consumer products at EcoBank, William Danso-Abiam. That would be it for business on Zed in the morning. Remember to log on to www.zedmultimedia.com for more business news. I am Saka Abdullahi.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia with a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business. In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia with a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business. We set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Z 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Z TV and the innovative realms of Z Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Z Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Z Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on a journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Z Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
It's close to a 7:15 into the second hour of the show. Zed in the Morning, Monday, 15th of July, 2024, in the year of our Lord. In the next hour, Zed Talk. Privileged to have economist and managing partner of Ishmael Yamson and Associates, Mr. Michael Harry Yamson, coming into the studio for us to talk SNIT Hotel sales fiasco, nationwide industrial action, and impact on economy and all things around that. That will be for Zed Talk. Taking us some time too, maybe 5 minutes to 9. Then we go for a quick lecture. When we come back in the final hour of the show, today is personal growth and development. Unleashing your potential, crafting an extraordinary life. We're talking to the one and only Michael Amankwa. Who is Michael Amankwa? Michael Amankwa, for starters, is the one guy who climbed the tallest mountain in Europe. Yes, he climbed the tallest mountain in Europe. The hill in your area, you haven't climbed. We're talking to Michael Amankwa, the mental catalyst and entrepreneur. Yeah, that's the final hour of the show. Unleashing your potential, crafting an extraordinary life. Today we're talking to Michael Amankwa. But this hour is top story. UTAG. SNIT must be shaken up. They're calling for the dissolution of the SNIT board. But they say, UTAG, you cry, why are you in this conversation? You don't contribute to SNIT. Yeah, we'll talk about that in this hour when we come back from the commercial break.
Pristine.
Check.
Spacious.
Check.
Breathtaking designs.
Check.
very, very important announcement. You know, it's been said that the clothes make the man. You heard me say that 1,000 times. And that the way you're dressed is the way you be addressed. You've heard me say that as well. But you know, you can wear quality that is affordable. And you still get the same remarks from people. Oh, you're looking good. You're looking good. And you know, when people tell you you're looking good, you actually feel good. So good looks, you know, it comes with a tag. But why would you, as a man, I'm speaking now, I'm talking directly to the man, why would you want to go spend all your money on clothing when there is a place where affordability and quality reside? A place where you can get the very best in shoes, in suits, in belts, in wallets, in accessories of all locations for all occasions. There's one place. KGL Shoes and Suits will get you the very best affordable quality. KGL Shoes and Suits, affordable quality. They also have special packages for corporate institutions and churches. So you have a church and you want to look good, going to praise God, you want to go to work looking good, you want to go play golf looking good, you want to go train looking good, whatever it is that you want to do, so long as you're a man and you're looking for affordable quality, there's only one place, KGL Shoes and Suits, and you can find them at KFC opposite 1+1 barbering shop. Sorry that I hold down Suman Accra. This is the number you want to call. Are you ready? Say this number 0593 747 994 0593 747 994 for more details. Yes, affordable quality only at KGL Shoes and Suits. Yeah, in the day and age and in a time when people are complaining about money is tough to come by, money is tough to do this, and money is not around, and I don't have money in my pocket. As people complain about money, the point is that when you're spending, you must spend and spend well. You must spend on a brand that is trusted. When you're going to buy, make sure you're just not going for cheap, but you're going for quality. You're going for affordable, but you're going for quality. And when it comes to the brand you want to purchase in this day and age, make sure it is time tested, it is trusted, and it's a brand that majority endorses when you're making that purchase. So when it comes to water storage tanks in Ghana, there is only one name. It's Polytank. It's true. You know, it's Polytank. That is why everybody calls every tank Polytank. There are other tank brands, but when people are buying, they say we want Polytank. Why? Because they know that Polytank has been with us for 30 years and more, and it's counting. Polytank is the first, Polytank is the best, and certainly Polytank is the original. So whenever you're thinking of storing water, make no mistakes. Go for guaranteed quality. Choose Polytank. Polytank, yeah. Papa Nunye. Polytank says they don't request for Momo payment online. So please be warned when you're making a Polytank purchase. Ever imagine a place, a community that is so well planned, a place that permit issues will not worry you and land guards are not chasing you and all that? Your hard-earned money is being used and used well, and you're being protected. A community where your neighbors are as friendly as it gets, because the whole area is so serene. So you have a peace of mind. After a hard day's work, you drive home and you rest. There's not going to be any cows mooing behind your house, and there's not going to be any body banging metals behind you because they are working out. You won't get all that. There's one place that would afford you that kind of scenery, and that will give you the kind of mind that you need. Your number one leading private real estate company of the year, Lakeside Estate, is giving you the golden opportunity to become a homeowner at Lakeside Hills. Lakeside Hills is a place that is so safe and secure. You get a sense of calm. The Lakeside Hills also comes with various house types that will meet your budget, that of your family as well. 2 bedrooms detached standard, 2 bedrooms detached deluxe, 3 bedrooms detached, 3 bedrooms detached with boys quarters, and 4 bedroom story executive. You want to book a viewing or you want to make a purchase, call these numbers: 0204 775 040, 0204 775 040, 0204 775 042, 0204 775 042, or 0501418622, 0501418622. These are the numbers you can call. But alternatively, you can visit lakesideestate.com and you get more details there. You can also follow them on their social media handles. It's at Lakeside_Estate. That is the handle for social media. Life is beautiful at Lakeside Hills. Lakeside Hills, where you can live your best life. And this is brought to you by your CIMG Real Estate, 3-time CIMG Real Estate Company. That is Lakeside Estate, and a great overall real estate company of the year 2023, Lakeside Estate.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio. Your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Yeah, definitely your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio right here. That is why if you want the very best in programming when it comes to lifestyle, leisure, and business, there is only one place your dial should be, right here on Z101.9 FM. Start your mornings right with Zed. Morning Blessings with Pastor Joshua NST comes your way this and every Monday to Friday. Then after that comes Living Word with Dr. Mensa Otabil. That's 5:30 to 5 minutes to 6. And then at 6, we bring you the news. After that, we continue with our show, Zed in the Morning. Also, right after work, why would you keep your dial anywhere else? Keep it here. Highway 1019. Oforiwo, you in Gozibuatin, they bring you the very best. That is from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. But before that, there is always NYA, the brand. She brings you the brighter side. Yes, she's here 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mondays to Fridays as well. Do you know your weekends are also sorted out? Which is why on Saturday, every Saturday morning, right here, it is Zed giving you time with Professor Stephen Adai. Yes, abundant living is a theme. Z101.9 FM. Professor Stephen Adai comes through every Saturday at 8 a.m. And then also Z Gospel Groove with DDM every Sunday 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. also comes your way. And Z Gospel Groove with David Aquamensa. David Aquamensa hands over to the man they call the legend, the king of country, Country Express with Tommy and Forsen. He comes twice during the week, Sundays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. In between all of these great programming, you're gonna get the very best in music to give you that kind of coolness that you need. You want reggae, you want jazz, you want high life. We play the very best high life. If you've not been told, tell somebody to tell somebody that you want the best high life over the weekend. Is right here on Z101.9 FM. The best in music with some of the finest DJs in the business.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Yes, Z101.9 FM. We're talking UTAG calling for the dissolution. They said SNIT board should be dissolved. Dissolution of the SNIT board. That's what. So this is a fallout from the abortive sale of the hotels. And let me pick something from the New Crusading guy. Let me start. He said demands by the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, for the dissolution of the board of directors and management of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust raise eyebrows. The crux of the issue lies in the fact that UTAG members do not contribute to SNIT and are therefore not part of the scheme. Critics argue that UTAG's call for changes within SNIT management is unfounded, as the association's members do not participate in the SNIT scheme. Instead, UTAG members are part of a different pension scheme, the Ghana University Staff Superannuation Scheme. GAS is a specialized pension scheme exclusively available to senior members or professionals who join the university within an entry age of 45, and it was established in 1961-62 as a replica of the UK-based Federated Superannuation Scheme for universities. And GAS has been designed to meet the specific needs of university staff. So what the story is saying is that UTAG, you don't contribute to SNIT. You cannot call for the dissolution of the SNIT board. I don't know what you think about that, but that is a call that we would have to go into.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Zed in the Morning on Zed 101.9 FM.
Okay, so before we go into the story itself, let's take a spot of music. When we come back, we're talking UTAG and SNIT dissolution of boards.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
Go into that conversation with Professor Mamadou Akudugu, who is the UTAC president, and he's on the line. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, Jerry, and good morning to your listeners.
It's a pleasure having you here this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here too.
Hope your weekend was fine, sir.
Well, we managed.
We thank God. So, UTAC, your capacity has been questioned based on the story that you're calling for a dissolution of the SNIT board. In the first place, has UTAC called for the dissolution of the SNIT board and management as well?
Thank you once again. Yes, UTAC is a member of organized labor, and we align when organized labor takes a decision. And so organized labor has asked for a termination of the process for sale of the 50% of Senate stake in those hotels. And as a union or association, we have also the right to express our opinions. And we believe that just halting the sale is not enough to resolve the underlying problem. And for us, we are looking beyond the diagnosis to resolution or treatment. And so we, as academics and intellectual hub of the nation, we are proposing that we need to go beyond just stopping the sale to think about how do we resolve the underlying cause of wanting to sell the hotels. And we believe we can only do that with a new set of people with fresh ideas. And so we think that the whole the board and top management should give way for new group of people so that we can have that wider conversation.
That's quite interesting. But I mean, how did we even get here? Over the years, this SNIT board, did they ever give UTAG or organized labor any cause to be worried or be concerned about their competence?
The thing about it is that you give people the mandate to deliver on certain indicators, and it takes a bit of time to be able to know whether they are able to deliver. And I think it's clear now that the mandate to make Senate better, well, they might have done their best. Nobody is saying, I mean, they did what they could do. But in terms of getting these hotels to be productive, they have not been able to do so. And so if you hire somebody to manage your property and the person after 3 or so years comes to tell you that, look, this property, get rid of it. And you as the owner says that, I cannot get rid of it. You cannot keep the same person there. And that is the basic point we are making, that they have not given us a cause to believe that things are not going right. We know what the ILO has said. In about 6 years, Senate will struggle to meet this obligation. So there's a wider issue that we have to deal with. We cannot deal with it the same group of people.
But SNIT itself, I mean, the board we are talking about, have said that the reason for even this whole conversation, which is the sale of the hotels, was due to the fact that they were looking for a strategic investor to increase efficiency, profitability, and also shareholder value. Does that not say that then they had shareholders in mind, and so they were acting in the very best interest of Ghanaians, pensioners and Ghanaians at large?
Well, as I said, so if Senate have said that, and then workers, we are the owners, let me put it loosely that way. The owners of Senate say, don't sell. So what is the alternative? It means that something else has to be done to bring efficiency and that effectiveness that Senate intended, or the management intended, or the board intended to inject in the system. So what is that thing else that has to be done apart from selling? Does the current board, the top management, think that there is any other thing that can be done apart from bringing a private investor? I don't think so. If they knew, they would have brought that and not the same. That they persisted and brought that that this board of management had. But it persisted. Till this minute, threat of shutting down the whole country. And so it goes without saying that we can bring that injection of efficiency and the rest of it through any other means apart from the sale of the hotel. But this board and management cannot be the people to look at that because their eyes are
Prof, let me go into this direction with this questioning. Is it a question of ethics or competence in the way this current SNIT board and management handle this attempted sale of the hotels? Is it an ethical question because of the one who was buying it, or you believe it's a competence question?
For me, I do not want to put it on. It's because of the one who was buying it. In principle, it's about the same, irrespective of who is buying it. We haven't gone. I don't think that organized labor has argued that yes, you can sell, but not to a particular person or a particular entity. And so, for now, we stay with the question of whether to sell or not to sell, and not bringing in the buyer. And so the issue of ethics and what have you doesn't really arise because they said they've gone through the legal processes entitled to do business. And so I do not see the issue of who is buying as a primary question at this point. The point is about of the team.
Would it also not have been a lot easier if you engage them and find out their competence rather than say, because of the direction you are taking, we think all of you should go?
How else do we engage? We have been in this for some time now. They insisted in selling until this on the 12th, when we organized labor meeting, decided to embark on this mass strike. They never listened. They never, gave any other option. You understand?
Yes,
so
sir.
that is why we even think that we engage them to stop the selling. We've spoken and they were adamant. They brought us to this brink. How do we even continue to a conversation with them as to the alternative? You see, that is why, as UTAG, we believe that just halting the sale is not enough to solve the problem. But we need to solve the problem because in 6 years, that's 2030, if Senate is threatened, what happens to us? We are the same people who are going to suffer, and we have to look at the alternatives. And so that is why, for me, or for us as UTAG, we need to leave out the emotions, leave out the politics, and face the facts and deal with them. If, for example, a private investor is coming in and supposedly can make profits in hotels, is the private investor going to carry the hotels to Dubai? Is he going to carry them to Rwanda or to any of those tourist destinations? No, he's going to operate in Ghana.
Exactly, sir.
So how come that private investor will come and be able to turn things around and we are not able to do it? It's a question we have to ask. And interestingly, that's not even to, look at the private investor. How long has what is the track record of the private investor? Rock City, how old is Rock City in that business? And they are able to come in and change things around. And Labadi Beach, how old is Labadi Beach? And you just think about it, and it's like we need to do something about the way that we do things in Ghana. It doesn't help anybody. And we all know that at the end of the day, we're all going to be held. But for the convenience of politics and what have you, we just will not address. We address the same thing and leave the root causes.
The Director General and the board, are they not appointed by the first gentleman of the land? So is the pressure now being directed at him so that he ensures that he step down? Because we are in a part of the world where honorable resignations are not very common.
Again, that is one of the problems we have. That before you realize, the whole issue becomes a machinery matter. But the thing is that the president appointed the board to do deliver on specific outcomes. And the board should be held responsible. The board of management should be held responsible for their actions and inactions. We need to isolate and delineate the responsibilities and deal with people given responsibilities to lead state institutions for their actions and inactions, rather than ending up becoming a whole government thing, NPP, NDC, the president. It's not about the government. It's about the management that is supposed to do ABCD and haven't been able to do it. And they should go. I don't see why this would be a matter. Elsewhere, as you said, we would have seen resignations in principle, because you have put me there to work. If I were the chief executive of state, and you have put me there that I should turn things around, and I'm telling you that the only way to turn things around is to sell, and you're saying I shouldn't sell. To keep my track record and my credibility, I would say, okay, do whatever you want to do with it. if you are the board and whatever, that's what you should do, because at the end of the day, what you think around, the people are saying no, and so you should leave. In principle, that's what I believe. But as you said, we're in the part of the world, these honorable resignations don't happen. And they are waiting to see the president say, oh, you go. And it becomes another time. I mean, we just have to change the way we do things. Otherwise, it doesn't matter who you bring or whatever, nothing is going to change.
I'm looking at a statement issued by the chairperson of the board, Madam Elizabeth Ikia Ohene, on Friday, and it didn't look like they are going anywhere. They actually wish to inform the public that the process had been terminated, and they wish to assure pensioners, contributors, and the public of their commitment to managing the affairs of the trust prudently for the sustainability of the pension scheme. This doesn't sound like they are planning to go anywhere. So what is next for UTAG and organized labor?
Well, as I said earlier, that has expressed an opinion. And we are going to be at the meeting this morning. Organized labor is organized meeting this morning at 10 a.m. We'll be there. And we'll express same opinions. UTAG is just one of many associations and unions that constitute organized labor. If our colleagues see reason with our proposition and want to take, then at the end of the day, it's organized labor that decides. If they decide that, oh, the termination is enough, so be it. Otherwise, we'll take it from there. And also, at the end of the day, when organized labor decides, we'll go back to consult our members. Whatever they direct, we'll go accordingly. Because we believe that if our members believe strongly that this is a cause that we have to pursue, we can pursue as an association, an independent association, not under the umbrella of organized labor.
So it's all up to the members of UTAG after today's meeting and then after a subsequent meeting with them. So let's clarify this. You're saying that the stories that are going around that UTAG has no locus in this matter is not true.
Well, anybody who says UTAG has no locus in this matter, to know that there are UTAG members that are contributed to Senate. And for us, our basic principle is that you touch one, you touch all. If you are one UTAG member who's contributing to Senate, UTAG have a locus. So nobody can claim that we have no locus. They should go and check the record. UTAG have members that contribute to Senate. Yes, majority of our members don't belong to Senate, but we still have a sizable number of members across our campuses who contribute to Senate. And besides, remember that people work elsewhere before joining. Myself, I have Senate contributions that have not been transferred to my current scheme. And so when I retire, I'm going for that money. We have interest.
Okay. So UTAG, their capacity shouldn't be questioned. They have interest in this thing. So way forward, Prof, before we let you go, what would you expect to see, especially in this electioneering year? We don't want some of these things. They could easily spark some unwanted consequences. What would you advise the general public?
I would honestly advise that, I mean, it's unfortunate this is going to become politics. It's difficult to tell people not to do it, but I would have advised that we should isolate these matters from politics. And also, the environment should just have appointed authority by honorably getting out. I mean, and things would be will have a calm situation. The same thing if they had listened to agitations earlier on and didn't try to play, slow and intransigent positions, we wouldn't have even gotten to this point. And so I would suggest that we always, as a country, have to be proactive. We need proactive leadership and not reactive leadership. Proactive leadership really doesn't solve any problem. You know, you only react to the sentence, and once it slows down, then you go to something else, and then the causes are still there, and the sentence will reappear, and you come back, and it doesn't make us make any significant progress. So we need proactive leadership. I'm sure that Senate should have known that this is not something that workers will relent. At least they should have had that intelligence that is, gathering, and to know that, look, these people are not going to budge. So we better rethink. We wouldn't have gotten to this point. But again,
we're here.
We are here.
Yeah,
So they will tell you that they have the power to do what they are doing. But remember that the power is for the people. And it resides in the people. So, yes, you are appointed with certain powers, but that power is given to you by the people, and they can take it back. And we have seen it, taking it back. You have to compulsorily terminate, you know.
Prof, in order not to sound like we're trying to preempt someone's actions, what is your sense of what today's meeting with organized labor is? What direction do you see this going?
Well, I don't want to be charged for preempting organized labor. So I know that they will take a decision that will be in the interest of workers and be in the interest of the country. Whatever decision that is going to be taken at today's meeting is going to be in the interest of the country, in the interest of workers. That I'm sure do that.
But we wouldn't have the massive strikes that were threatened on Friday. I pray so.
Yeah, that's our prayer. Because at the end of the day, everybody's if there is a strike action, the medical doctors, for example, have lined out what they are going to. Even we cannot say that workers are not going to be sick and they will not need their services. Everybody is going to suffer.
It's true.
Even we ourselves as workers. And so we pray that we don't get to that point.
We pray that we don't get to that point. That was from Prof. Mahmudu Akudugu, who happens to be the UTAG president. It's quite unfortunate, but we're here. And like you said, let's hear what happens after the meeting with organized labor. Have a great day, sir, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and good day to the listeners and yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed in the Morning on Zed 101.9 FM.
Yeah, that's top story. UTAG said they have locus and that some members actually contribute to SNIT still. And then also, they had members who were contributing to SNIT before they joined the universities or, the educational institutions. So they have as much locus as the average Ghanaian. We'll hear what organized labor says after the 10 o'clock meeting today. We'll begin right after the show. So I'm sure Zed News will be bringing you a lot on this very story. But also, are you aware that there is an alert by the Ghana Health Service? It has to do with an outbreak of dengue fever. And there is a presser here that I want to touch on quickly. The National Surveillance System detected unusual cases of clinical malaria in some districts of the eastern region. These cases were not responding to anti-malaria treatment and were therefore managed as acute febrile illnesses, and samples sent to Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. A total of 9 of such cases have been confirmed as dengue fever, following that a team from the national level made up of entomologists and epidemiologists have joined the regional team to undertake a detailed outbreak investigation. The presser said, "We request regional directors of health service and chief executive officers of teaching hospitals to ensure this alert on dengue fever is communicated to all health workers in their respective regions, districts, and hospitals, including the mission and private facilities. This is to enhance surveillance on dengue fever, and all clinical malaria cases needed to have laboratory confirmation. Cases meeting the case definition of dengue fever to have blood samples taken and transported to Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research for confirmation. The surveillance case definition for dengue fever is as follows. Suspected case: any person with acute febrile illness of 2 to 7 days duration with 2 or more of the following: headache, retroorbital pain, myalgia, arthralgia, rash, hemorrhagic manifestations, leukopenia. That is for suspected cases. And then confirmed cases: a suspected case with laboratory confirmation also qualifies as a confirmed case. In severe forms of the disease, that is dengue hemorrhagic fever and dengue shock syndrome, the following apply. Dengue hemorrhagic fever: a probable or confirmed case of dengue with bleeding tendencies as evidenced by one or more of the following: positive tourniquet test. And then also when it comes to dengue shock syndrome, all of the above criteria plus evidence of circulatory manifestation by rapid and weak pulse, narrow pulse, hypotension for age, cold, clammy skin, and altered mental statuses. We further request regional directors of health service to initiate process to create public awareness on dengue fever on the following: avoiding mosquito bites by sleeping under mosquito nets and wearing appropriate clothing, destroying mosquito breeding sites by eliminating standing water where mosquitoes can lay eggs, and proper waste management around homes to reduce potential breeding grounds. This is brought to you by Ghana Health Service. So yes, please let's be very, very careful out there. There's an alert for dengue fever.
Zed in the morning on Zed 101.9 FM.
It's a few minutes to the top of the hour 8. Let's go for a quick lecture. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Money means it's business briefs right here on Zed in the Morning. Why do we bring you business briefs? We bring you business briefs because we are interested in ensuring that in this competitive business world, your thinking is up there. Because you see, the quality of your thinking will give you the edge. An idea that opens new doors. You can also a technique that solves a problem, or an insight that simply makes sense of it. Or that's what we're trying to do right here on Zed's in the Morning's business briefs. We believe here that the more you know, the smarter and faster you go. The more you know, the smarter and faster you go. What are we doing this week? This week, productivity comes back. You remember the first 2 weeks ago, we did productivity in class, and it was based on Elon Musk email, where he spoke about things that he believed would help Tesla staff, and we gleaned from that email. He said, no, make sure your meetings are short, they are not long, they are not too big, and they shouldn't be too frequent. And all, remember those things. And remember the very interesting statement he made in there, that if you are attending a meeting and you are not contributing to, or you are not receiving from that meeting, and you should get out and go back to your desk and continue working. Today, productivity, what are we touching on? We're touching on something also given by Bill Gates. So we did Elon Musk 2 weeks ago. This week we're doing Bill Gates. Let's hear what Bill Gates says. So we're looking at the 5 top things he said would make you more productive at work. First one, put in the hours. It's as simple as that. Work, and work. Put in the hours. As a matter of fact, that message said, aim for 10,000 hours of focused work for mastery. What does it mean? It means that for you to be on top, the very top of your game, for you to be the very best, I don't know what you're doing. You could be a newsreader, you could be an accountant, you could be a disc jockey like DJ Pete Wade, whatever it is that you do it. He said the first law of productivity is for you to put in the hours. And he said aim for 10,000 hours of focused work for mastery. Aim for 10,000 hours of focused work for mastery. You want to learn the keyboard, 10,000 hours. Aim for that. You want to learn a skill. You could be a footballer for a care. You could be a whatever it is. Put in the hours. Put in the hours. You could be a morning show host. Put in the hours so that you become good at that. Yeah, that's personal advice for me. You could be technical. You could be like Mr. Ben at the technical. Put in the hours. 10,000. You could be big man at me like Mr. Kwekuyansin. Put in the hours. 10,000 hours of focused work will give you mastery over the area that you are interested in. So don't be running after a few hours. Here, I'm going home, I'm tired. No, you are not aiming for mastery. Go for mastery. 10,000 hours of focused work. That is what is going to give you the mastery. So let's go with our quote for the day. It is not the hours you put in your work that counts. It's the work you put in the hours. That's coming from Sam Ewing. Thank you very much for this quick lecture. It's Business Briefs right here on Zed in the Morning. Let's pick a spot of jingle. Then we come back and play some good music. And then we go into the third hour. Mr. Harry is here. Harry Yamson is going to talk a lot, accounts and all the things that go with it before we go into the final hour. So this is Zed in the Morning. Don't touch your dial. It's going to get exciting from here on.
Feel the laughter, moments that live forever.
Get ready to elevate your lifestyle with the all-new Broom Black series, where innovation meets elegance.
Remember the smiles, the warmth you share.
From state-of-the-art TVs to energy-saving ACs and immersive washing machines, the Broom Black series has it all, empowering you to create unforgettable moments at home. Transform your space and ignite your senses with the Broom Black series, available now at Electromat stores near you. Upgrade to excellence today by visiting our website www.broom.com.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM. Tuned in to Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beijing, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the new Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
One album, that's all. One album was all it took for him to get to the very epoch of Ghana's high life. One album, the Bayer album, remember, with all those great tunes. Yes. Senior, if you're listening in the US, it's a good morning. I know I've been naughty. I'll call you one of these days. Amazing track. At Doom tomorrow. Yeah, but we have to get back to work after the dancing. It's just about 5 minutes past 8, and Zed in the morning. We're in the third hour of the show. This is what we call Zed Talk. Today we're talking economy, and who better to do that than economist and managing partner of Ishmael Yamson and Associate Michael Harry Yamson. He's here with us. We're most privileged to have him here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Finally, it's a privilege to see you.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. We've spoken over the phone a couple of times.
Yes.
But finally, you're seated in our studios. I hope the weekend was restful.
Not so restful for me. I have too many burials in my family.
Yes, but Smith, this morning, from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this morning, Smith is still trending. Your general thoughts on this whole SNIT discussion? How did we get here, and should we have gotten here?
Well, good morning, Jerry, and for those listening to us, good morning. It looks like these days in our country, it's always very heavy. Well, some will say we got here because SNIT took a decision to offload its interests in a certain number of hotels, and that decision met with a great deal of opposition. As the story has evolved, you've heard stories about the businesses not being, viable, competition being so great,
Airbnb
coming in, and there's only one word for everything that we've heard, and it is excuses.
Okay.
Excuses because you don't get here out of nothing. You get here because of decisions not made. You get here because of decisions made. And the sum total of it is the strikes we are seeing today. And my view when we spoke last week was that SNIT itself has not taken a great deal of quality interest in the holdings.
Okay.
So when you say the management has failed, you've failed to invest in the right kind of management. Right?
Okay.
If you say the asset is not delivering, you fail to invest in the quality of your asset. Because not every hotel in this country is collapsing. How does it happen that your portfolio of 4 hotels are all going down except for one, and even the one that is staying up, you don't have much confidence in its future? So there's a failure on the part of SNIT to invest in the people, to invest in the asset, to actually understand where the future is going. Because Airbnb did not appear in Ghana today. There is a whole government agency under the tourism ministry that tracks what is happening in Airbnb. So the information is not unavailable, it is available.
Okay. So
if you were interested, you'd have known where Airbnb was going and what Airbnb was doing to push its growth. And you being the owner of a hotel could have made a decision. What do I do to counter this trend?
Exactly.
But SNIT didn't do that. And now we're here. But the issue also still remains that, so what is the future? Is the future to divest its direct interest in hotels? And if it is about hotels, is it really to say that it is only hotels or any direct involvement in any business, so that SNIT just becomes an investor in other people's businesses?
Okay.
That is not clear.
Yeah, but that would be a very tough call.
Well, I've read an article about the CEO saying that SNIT as an entity will now only make investments in fixed return instruments.
What happens to the SNIT hospital in my area?
Well, that's why I asked the question. Is it about hotels per se, or is it about direct investment or involvement in the operation of businesses of any sort? So there has to be a better engagement, particularly of the direct stakeholders, which has not happened. Part of the reason for the strikes we are seeing today is because SNIT has not engaged its stakeholders adequately or effectively. And so there are lots of questions, very few answers, and those answers that are available are inadequate. Now we are at risk of the situation becoming a personalized matter. What has the board chair done? What has the CEO done? What have reps from in labor on the board done? And we're losing sight of the more important question. How do we keep the pensions pot funded adequately?
Okay.
Today, we have more young people than older people.
Okay.
And SNIT is already under stress. So what happens when people like me and the people 10 years younger than me also now start to retire, because the numbers then get bigger and bigger?
It's true.
The youth dividend of today is the pensions nightmare of tomorrow.
You have to repeat that statement.
You're making me sound like a pastor. I'm saying that the youth dividend of today is the pensions nightmare of tomorrow. So at any point in time, we have to have a 20, 25, 30-year view of how we're going to fund pensions and what we're going to do to fund pensions in this country.
Okay.
I don't believe that SNIT began the conversation with that on the table. And it feels like a very short-term analysis of what's going on in the last 2-3 years. And we're making a decision that has implications for the next 30 years.
Exactly.
If Rock City wants to build a mega stake in the hotel industry in Ghana, that tells me that Airbnb notwithstanding,
it's still a profitable.
The sector is not going down. You cannot have tourism without hotels.
Exactly.
So if tourism is growing, and it was one of the fastest sectors in terms of the sectors to experience the fastest recovery after COVID. So if the sector is growing and hotels are integral to the sector, then it's very difficult for someone to convince me, for example, that a stake in 4 prime hotels is a bad business investment.
Yeah. I mean,
the mother sector is growing in leaps and bounds. It is projected to grow in leaps and bounds. Ghana can expect 10 million visitors in the not too distant future. Where will they stay? I don't think that with our 2-3 million private homes, we can accommodate all 10 million guests. We will still need hotels.
Exactly.
So what kind of hotels will we need going forward? That's the question.
That's where the question should be.
So what do you have today, and how do you orient it to face the future? That's the question SNIT ought to be asking. That's the demand that organized labor should be putting on SNIT. But that's not the conversation we are having. And it's unfortunately becoming a politicized conversation. And this is not about politics. This is about cold cedis, cold dollars.
Wow.
So I think SNIT has horribly lost its way.
UTAG is calling for a dissolution of the board and management.
Well, that's their opinion. I will simply say that they need to find their way. They need to find reason for everybody to have confidence in the leadership. And they need to inspire us that they actually have a big vision for the pensions pot. Because this discussion, as I keep saying, it's not political. Tell me that Ghana will have enough money to double the pensions payout 10 years from now. Tell me that Ghana will have enough money to keep pensioners ahead of the inflation curve 10 years from now. That is a promise worth making. That is leadership that we will all have confidence in and support. But right now, I think we are stuck in the little things. We are stuck in the unimportant matters because the leadership itself at SNIT is not understanding the direction that it needs to take and is not convincing anyone about the decisions that it is making so far.
Yeah, but there was this study that said that SNIT itself was at risk and that it wouldn't last beyond a certain number of years. And they came out and said, no, it's not true.
I saw that. But my point is, it's not true for what reason? You understand? If you say it's not
They
true,
said it was not true because they don't pay pensions via investments or something, and that rather it was by the contributions. And so long as contributions are going on, the SNIT would always be there.
So it's a Ponzi scheme. All Ponzi schemes collapse in the end. If you don't actually have investments that bring in more than you are taking in, it will collapse. That's why I said when the larger numbers start coming in,
as more numbers enter the pensions,
what happens is that, like we've seen in many other countries, you get to a point where the bulge becomes the middle bulge becomes the top, and then the narrow bottom comes into the middle, and then suddenly, without investments that are yielding great revenue for you, it is then a Ponzi scheme. So we have to be very careful about some of these statements that are made.
What are the potential long-term consequences for the economy, so that we dovetail in the economic conversation with this SNIT thing? How does this labor here calling for this? They said 10 a.m. today there's going to be a huge labor meeting with Ghana Medical Association, NATS is joining. What are the long-term consequences of this whole discussion on economy?
The issue for me, as far as the economy is concerned, is we need to understand how we want to generate and sustain growth in our economy. And underpinning that is the question of where will jobs come from? Because it is economic growth, jobs growth, that ultimately you need to fuel an organization or a fund like SNIT.
Like SNIT, yeah.
We have all witnessed a remarkable shrinkage in the size of our economy in real terms. I always smile when I see people report CD numbers and say, oh, there's growth in trade. And once you dollarize the value, you see that everything went down. Nothing went up. So we need to think very hard about where do we grow this economy from? How do we grow it in a way that is sustainable over the next 30, 40, 50 years? We've sat with colleagues from other regions in the world, and they will tell you, we don't do 4-year growth plans. 4 years is just implementation. The growth is 30, 40, 50 year. So, sometimes when we say, oh, China became big, China didn't become big, China was going to become big because they had a plan. The thing is that, where is our plan as a country? And when I always talk about growth, the sad part is that every long-term development plan in this country has become a political football. So we do the plan, the next government comes, kicks it out, writes its own. So we are constantly writing 20, 30, 40-year development plans, and they only last 4 years.
Or at most 8 years.
At most 8 years, and then we rewrite them. So on this, I lay the responsibility on our constitution. I lay the responsibility on our president. I lay the responsibility on our parliament. Those who manage these three things need to serve us better. We need to change the very constitution of this country and find a way to ensure that When it asks for development plans, it protects those development plans. Right now, no development plan is protected. I remember one plan was presented to the incoming NPP government, and then it was booted out. And then nothing happened until this year when another plan was presented. As we are about to enter into election, the question is, will the next president, whoever he is, will he adopt the work of another administration?
Who presents these plans? Whose job, whose responsibility?
NDPC.
The National Development Planning Commission.
Exactly. So, look, the Constitution has asked for something and it doesn't protect that something. Every president in this country has been guilty of taking their predecessor's development plan and shoving it into the bin, doing nothing with it and writing their own. And every parliament in this country, after resourcing the NDPC to do great work, has failed to protect the work of the NDPC. Look, we are not serious about growth. We talk about it, we hope for it, but we don't actually do much with it. The growth that tends to happen happens in spite of, not because of. And we have to be very careful, because we cannot keep living on the wind. Eventually, we have to have a national consensus about what is growth, where will growth come from, how will we protect it, how will we deepen it, and how will we make it serve the people of this country. If our young people are not brought into this economy in a meaningful way, we are sitting on a time bomb. We've seen Kenya. It's frustration that led to Kenya. Our young people are no less frustrated, but I think they are a bit cleverer about how to navigate the future. But we can't take it for granted. We cannot take it for granted. If we are generating fewer jobs than children coming out of university, coming out of senior secondary school, coming out of our institutes and training colleges, we have a problem. And that is not a political matter. It is a national issue. It requires consensus. It requires deliberate, thorough, deep thinking. We're not seeing that. And I think we love our adversarial politics a little bit too much. So growth is a big issue for us. And not just that. The other question is that Ghana is trying to integrate itself very deeply into the African economy.
Yeah.
We have seen 2 years running that Ghana actually made very good progress in its trade with Africa. Real progress. But 3 years into AFCFTA, we've not had that conversation here about what part of the African trade opportunity, about the African growth opportunity Ghana wants to be a part of. If I take Nigeria, we can all immediately say banks, insurance, i.e. financial services. Nigeria made its decision. So what's Ghana's decision? South Africa made its decision because it was highly industrialized, had a deep technology industry, and so they have built their trade around industry and technology. What are going to be the poles around which Ghana builds its trade with Africa? And makes, well, you say, I would agree, but I would say not just agree, but agribusiness.
Okay.
But we have to make a decision. Where do we want to go with Africa? So I talk about growth, and that's very broad.
Yeah.
But the other area for me is Africa, and we have to make that decision, that very, very conscious decision about, first of all, where in Africa do we want to build our trade, in what sectors, in what scale, to which part of the market, the low end, the middle end, the upper end. We have to make these decisions about what it is that we want to do when it comes to the Africa opportunity. The third area for me really has to do with our own view of how we want to fund both our trade and our growth. We have had an economy that for so long, sometimes for political reasons, sometimes simply for expediency, has been so heavily centered around government. Every government comes into power promising to create jobs, My firm belief is that government should not be in the business of creating jobs because they never last. Our civil service is bloated. Not just bloated, it is extremely bloated. We need a smaller government. We need a bigger private sector.
Okay.
We understand this, but we don't do it. And every government finds an excuse why it has to be the savior of the economy by getting into business, by getting into the business of being the one to create jobs, rather than the one to stimulate jobs growth. And there's a difference.
Okay.
So our governments have not been in the business of stimulating jobs growth in the private sector. They've all been in the business of creating fictitious jobs that ultimately they are not able to pay for. So we need to do a better job of shifting from promising and creating this expectation that government shall create the jobs to government will stimulate jobs growth, and then making sure that private businesses, small businesses, and particularly small businesses are doing well enough to employ 1, 2, 3 additional people. If you have 3 million private businesses in this country, what happens if each one of them creates one long-term job? Just one long-term job that is properly registered with SNIT and pays tax?
3 million.
3 million. Do you have an unemployment problem?
Already solved.
Solved. So if you don't think about how do I get 3 million businesses to create one meaningful job, one real long-term formalized job, you will have an unemployment problem. You will have a weak SNIT because you have, look, if you take 100 working Ghanaians, only 20 of them have a stable, formalized job that allows them to pay tax and pay SNIT and have the promise of a future. 8 out of 10 have an informal job with no security. When you drive on the road, every vulcanizer you see has an insecure pension, has an insecure future. The day his waist gives up, he has no pension. You and I do, because we wear a shirt and a pair of trousers and sit in an office. But who said they should not have a pension? They ought to. We haven't solved that issue of how to get them to be on the pension. We haven't solved that problem of making sure that the 16, 18-year-old boy who works with him is also formalized. It's tough, but that's the problem we have to solve without the politics. We instinctively say, oh, they are too poor to pay tax. And we forget that by that very statement, we have said they are also too poor to contribute to their SNIT. Then they become aged and poor. And the burden.
The state has
the burden. So we need to solve these problems ahead of time. We have to solve them meaningfully. We have to solve them conclusively. So this matter of where do we stimulate growth, and how do we stimulate growth and trade, and therefore make sure that jobs growth is sustainable, is a big conversation that we need to have.
But in a country where manifestos trump NDPC plans, when are we ever going to have this discussion?
The problem is not manifestos trump NDPC. Manifestos take their cue, or should take their cue from the long-term plan. And that's why I said that protecting that baby called Ghana's long-term development plans is something that between a president, a parliament, and a constitution, we need to make sure is secure. So the problem is not manifestos. Political parties will always write manifestos. Sometimes they only write it to get the votes, and then afterwards they throw it into the bin. So the issue is not the manifesto. The issue is the national document.
Okay.
right, which we must make meaningful. Our constitution is meaningless if we are poor.
Okay.
We might as well throw it away. So, for the sake of the very constitution that we all hope will sustain us, we need to make sure that its conception of how we create growth and meaningful lifestyles and livelihoods ought to be similarly protected.
So that it is protected in there.
Yes.
So that if you came to me and said, this is my party's manifesto, I'm going to look at the national plan and say, where does it sit in the plan?
How do I give meaning to the national plan?
Okay.
The next party can have its own perception of how it will give meaning to the national plan. But that's not a problem. The base of both approaches would be a common national plan. When Dan Latte talked about domestication, we all laughed. We all laughed. But the man had a point. And we are here today. For lack of domestication, we perish.
Now you are sounding like a man of God. but that for me is worrying. That you're saying the plants are there, but they are not protected. So everybody comes in and then they pick their very own, and then they say, let's run with it. And you see, this sits in a very interesting conversation we've been having over the past few days on who brought free SHS. Because the word progressively free, or that phrase, has now become, the topic for discussion. What does it mean? But what you're saying is, if we had a plan which is protected by the Constitution, we wouldn't go fighting over the definition. It would be clearly there.
The debate is completely immaterial. What do you care? What does a little child care? Who said what? What matters is what's going on in the classroom. We don't have enough teachers. We have a curriculum that does not make us competitive. We have teachers who are stressed, underpaid. So what's the debate? In the end, if all the children went to school, we would come out with people who are not competitive in the global economy. That is the truth. We haven't defined for ourselves what place we want to have in the global economy,
which will then determine the quality of human resource we produce.
Thank you. We haven't done that work.
It doesn't matter if everybody goes to school.
It doesn't matter if we all go to school. If we haven't defined where we want to be in the global economy, what role we want to play, how we want to be competitive, what are we going to school for? So the curriculum doesn't do anything for us. The teachers are not even able to teach it because it's too many children sitting on them. They themselves don't get the training. They don't have the equipment. And all we do is have political fights. The real matter hasn't been resolved. So I'm happy if everybody is in a classroom, but let's teach them what they need for their future.
What are we producing? The quality of the human resource. I mean, I've spoken to someone in African human capacity development. I've spoken to people in the area of tourism. Last Friday, I had a good discussion in the studio on agribusiness and technology. One word that came through all of these things is we are not intentional enough as a nation about what we want. Do you see that also applying in the area of economics and growth and job creation? We're not intentional.
Look, in May, we had the Ishmael Yamson Associates Business Roundtable. Okay. And one of the topics we covered was the role of education. With the right deployment of technology, we stand over the next 50 years to gain an additional $21 trillion worth of GDP.
The right deployment of technology.
21 trillion. AFCFTA says we can gain $450 billion in GDP growth every single year for the next 50 years. However, without the right deployment of technology, you are going to lose 21 billion of growth over the next 50 years. That comes to 450 billion a year. So you have the potential to grow 450 and the potential to lose 420. $30 billion of growth is nothing in a continent like Africa. How much would Ghana's share be of that 30 billion?
Wow.
So you have to decide where you want your growth to come from, and you have to sustain it with the right technologies. And this is just in the area of education. Because the classroom has not modernized, we may lose quality income earning capacity equal to 420 billion a year in our continent. Ghana is part of that. So if you don't give the people the right type of education, the right resources in education, you stand to lose almost all the gains that AFCFTA, for example, promises. Is that the economy we want? And even if all of Africa will get it wrong, should the Black Star of Africa also get it wrong? Or should we get it right because we are the Black Star of Africa?
But the truth is that not all of Africa will get it wrong. There are sharp countries that will get it right, and that means they overtake us.
The more reason why we need to get it right. So you see, you started with SNIT, and we talked about growth, and we talked about trade, and we talked about investing, and we talked about our long-term planning. We're back to the same point. Do we know where we want to be? And are we ready to do the work to help us to chart the path? Whether it is SNIT or government or NDPC or you and me sitting in our individual businesses, what's the plan?
Where would you recommend we be?
For me, I think that in terms of where we want to be, we need to look within. There is absolutely no economy that has made it big in the world without first looking inward. We will say China is an export country, but China just didn't become an export country. China developed internal capacities and capabilities to allow it to become an export country. We talk about South Korea, we talk about Japan, we talk about Singapore, we talk about Rwanda. Even look at Botswana. Botswana has decided what it wants to do. They have cattle, they have diamonds, and they manage those two resources well enough to have a currency stronger than the dollar. Cattle and diamonds.
You know what scares me about this conversation?
What?
I had an engagement with some Zimbabweans, I think a year or two ago. They had come into Ghana, and in engaging with them, I'm like, what are you doing here? And they said, listen, we have a plan, and we want to leverage on those plans. We want to be the center for addition of value to agri products and then export it to the rest of Africa. I'm like, what do you mean? Then they began to show me conflicts that were even a bit better than what we are used to, showing me biscuits, then drinks, and Zimbabwe.
Yeah, Zimbabwe. Because remember, Zimbabwe used to be a bread basket for the Southern Africa at the very least. Before the land reforms and
Mugabe's issues.
Exactly. Zimbabwe was a bread basket. Zimbabwe was a major food producer, a major value addition source for agricultural produce in the Southern Africa region. So the Zimbabweans know a thing or two. But the difference also is that they are very much into commercial farming. And you see, in Ghana, when you say commercial farming, people think, you want to kill the small farmer. That's not the issue. Every small farm needs to behave like a small business. We encourage our small farmer to think like a subsistence farmer.
Okay.
And that is the base from which the inefficiency emerges. That is the reason why their yields are low. because they are not thinking about productivity. They are not thinking about profitability. They are thinking about volume. But volume alone does not solve the problem. At what cost did you produce that volume? And at what price will you release that volume? So we, for years, have glorified the main season. And the main season, prices drop. But in the main season, waste jumps to 40%.
For lack of storage.
For lack of value, for lack of a value chain.
Yeah, exactly.
So in the main season, in fact, our losses are compounded. It's not a beautiful time. It's a sad time. Every time I hear main season, I'm sad. And yet, from the policymakers to the government, state agencies, the departments, the agencies, it's almost as if the main season has come. We're going to see lower food inflation, and when you look at our inflation trends, it's coming down, and then shoots up, and it's like we are at the mercy of the weather.
So we work on tomatoes through Gbogboloshi for one season, and then after a few months, tomatoes are so expensive that everybody's complaining.
Because we haven't done that simple job of saying that let's add value to agriculture. Intentionally. We shouldn't be in a situation where we look at the main seasons or the glut periods just because prices will crash. These lower prices should be feeding into industry. They should be converting into products with longer shelf life, products with export potential. That's what we should be talking about. So if you don't build, and that's why I said, what kind of growth do we want? So if you're not thinking about where you want to build capacity, look inward to build the capacity, you will find that we will be running on a fixed point. That is part of how I see things. We need to look inward, think about the capabilities and the capacities that we must build. The other thing is that I think we cannot run away from technology. I go back to technology. We need to aggressively digitize this economy. Fundamental to digitizing this economy is our payment systems. And I think that the cardinal sin in all of this is the e-levy. I think it's an immoral tax. It's just wrong. It's a twisted mentality to say we both buy water to save a dying person, and my guy will die because I cannot pay the additional tax just because I want to pay with a card or an electronic solution. It's a sick tax. It needs to go. It doesn't do anything for us. It only long-term regresses us. We're just taking more out of private pockets that would actually be deployed in more efficient decisions. Government is the most wasteful part of our economy. I hardly see the need to resource it with more tax until it gets its act together. But the e-levy is a disaster. It's no matter what anyone says, it is a disaster. It's a wrong tax. It needs to go. But let me go back to the main point. We must digitize. We must bring all of us into the digital age. We must use technology in everything that we do. It is the way forward. It is how other economies, other countries have leapfrogged, and we cannot abandon technology. I know that in our history, in our context, we are suspicious of technology.
Okay.
But technology is no devil. It is just how it is used. And, when I always think of the e-levy, I say it is a prime example why people will never trust technology, because we use it more to exploit than to do good and to be moral. We are not using that capacity in a moral way. It is a completely immoral tax. And I think that the other thing we need to think about is, how do we incentivize made in Ghana? I get very frustrated when I hear government people, political people talk about, oh, let's take taxes off imports and let's reduce charges at the port for imported finished products and all kinds of things. And I say to myself, how do we industrialize and then make imports cheaper? The two don't go together. You have to make a choice. All strategy is choice.
Okay.
So you cannot pursue a strategic decision to industrialize in whatever fashion your domestic economy and then make the competing imports cheaper. It doesn't work for me. So we need to make it clear that the incentives will go to made in Ghana. We are the sovereign. Why should I have toll without crude, but the BDC can bring finished product? Why is it that all BDCs should not first import crude so toll will work? Because toll was designed to work on a tolling basis anyway.
Okay.
So everybody bring your crude. Once you finish making your crude, after all, toll can now only supply about 20% of what we need. So you bring enough crude for 20% of what you plan to sell and let the rest come as finished, because that's the capacity we have. But at least 20% of our consumption would be put through toll. You have a viable organization that can then think about expanding
and
so that
more jobs.
So to go from 20 to 21 to 25 to 30 to 40, and a day and a time will come when from 20 you build back up. But it's almost as if we deliberately, government after government, hobble toll and then turn around to the people and say, oh, but you have a debt, go and pay it. We kill it, and then we say, you go and put your money in the dead horse. So there's something fundamentally wrong. Why is it that someone can get up and say, I want to import rice? And there's no obligation on that person to, first of all, buy and sell made in, grown in Ghana rice. And we say it's a free economy. Yes, it is free, but I don't know any economy that is free. You can't go to America and start practicing free by importing everything. They'll tell you that there are some things that you need to,
made in the U.S.
Yeah. And sometimes they will actually say, their famous chant, USA.
Yeah.
So they will force you. Toyota was losing the battle in the U.S. until they built plants in the U.S. So call it free, but it's not that free.
Is it not because those countries
so
have the capacity
I have another pastoral quote for you.
Please.
To play, you must plug in. If you don't plug into the domestic Ghanaian economy, we won't let you play.
Is it not because, and it still goes back to the same thing, those who are benefiting are those who are making the decision. So why would he make a decision where he might not benefit?
Transparency. We lack transparency in the decision-making processes. And there is no desire to bring transparency to our decision-making processes. So you sit in Ghana, you wake up one morning and parliamentarians have decided that they will drive without speed limit.
Yeah.
Huh?
Sirens on.
Sirens on. What is the emergency?
They go to parliament to pass.
Is that an emergency? Going to parliament has become an emergency. Plan your day and go to work. You say, I want siren. I want to drive. So if that person drives at 100 in a 20 zone and kills your child, he's broken no law because he is not bound by any speed limit. He's not reckless. He's not careless. Killed your child for free because he's a member of parliament. He's a minister. And I bet you the minute they get it, many other people in the government sector will find a way to also take it. Is that how we want to run our country?
If there's a sticker that shows that you are, I get a sticker, put it there, I do 120.
Home free. Drive. Kill. Move on. The more important point is transparency. Sunlight cures all things. We don't have transparency. And because we don't have transparency, look, I had a major issue when we went into DDEP because I kept asking the question. The minister went to Parliament, and less than 2 months later, we declared the domestic debt. What did Parliament see that prevented them from knowing that we were broke? Or what did Parliament see and decide not to comment on when they knew we were broke? The issue is transparency. And yet, these same processes and these same people who kept from us such disastrous information and prevented us as a country from acting, 6 months from now, they will tell us they want their ex gratia. They want it paid. After collapsing all of us with opaque economic decision making that has brought us to our knees, they will all troop together, just like the speed limit cancellation. Quietly, no argument. That day, you will not see any fighting in Parliament. They will all do it quietly. Mr. President will bring his bill. The judges will bring their bill. They also take ex gratia. They all come and take it quietly. No argument. No court case. The lack of transparency is as inimical to growth as anything we can imagine. And it serves only those people for whom the status quo benefits. Yeah. The youth will lose out. The old will lose out. The entrepreneur will lose out. The worker will lose out. Every Ghanaian loses out when decisions are made in the dark.
Look inward to build capacity, aggressively digitize the economy, especially payment systems, incentivize made in Ghana.
Yeah. You want one more? I'll tell you. Debt.
Okay.
Debt. We've built too much debt, and we are still building debt. Every week, it's like a hurrah. The short-term treasury bills were oversubscribed.
Yeah.
And government will be asking for more the next week. It is the only source of money now for government. Banks are begging government to take their money. And absolutely nobody is asking the question, how will we pay this mountain of debt?
When are we going to start paying?
Don't be surprised, and I'm not being alarmist, but eventually, like happened with the bonds, irresponsible borrowing will lead to a default.
And a haircut.
And a haircut. They say it can never happen because it will be disastrous. But what will you do when you cannot pay? You either print money and destroy the economy, or you give a haircut and destroy the people. Either way, there is no joy down the line. There is no joy down the line. Let's not deceive ourselves. Right now, it's a very short-termist approach. Borrow all you can and keep the government afloat. In 6 months, we are gone. Ghana will take care of itself. That is what the government is doing. They don't care.
But they are trying to stay in power,
if
so
they
should care.
But that's not the point. Staying in power, if it ruins you, it's still fine. Remember the mantra, first get power, first keep power. And I'm not speaking here as anything but as an ordinary Ghanaian. If we were borrowing these amounts of money to put into recurrent expenditure, i.e. consumption, not investment, because I promise you, there is no road that is built in 91 days, tolled, and it will begin to deliver profits. There is no major investment that you are going to do with 91-day treasury bills.
Yeah, because 91 days later, I'm coming for my money.
So you are just consuming And then depending on e-levy to go and pay for it. That's why they like e-levy.
Interesting.
So all this borrowing we are seeing is a bucket of tears waiting for us down the line. Somebody has to call the government out and say, stop the borrowing. Because you have to pay for it. One way or the other. You will either print money or you give haircuts. One way or the other. You will pay for this. And it will not be you, it will be us. So let's not clap, because this is a bomb
waiting to go off in the future.
Today, tomorrow, whenever. Remember DDEP. We said haircut. Eventually we have to pay. The bilaterals gave us time. The commercial people took some haircut.
Yeah.
But eventually you have to pay. And you are not paying at 6 cedis or 5 cedis or 4.5 cedis to the dollar. You are paying at 16 cedis to the dollar. So eventually you will pay. You will pay painfully. $3 is now 1 because you don't have the currency. So eventually we will pay. And you may say, oh, it's CD debt, but eventually you will pay. So we're sitting on a bomb. There is no good news. There's a lot of short-term, let's get through the next 6 months kind of thinking going on. And while all this is happening, the bad stories keep coming up of waste, of graft, of corruption, of sweetheart deals. They are all still happening.
You don't see any hope in the next, beyond December 7th?
The actors haven't changed.
Wow.
The actors haven't changed.
So the script is the same?
The script is the same.
Till when?
Till you and I decide enough is enough.
What are we going to do? Kenya?
Oh, no. Ghanaians will never do that, no. But I think that we need to not give a free pass to political people now. We need to ask the questions. Where are you taking us? And policies that don't have a cost to it should no longer be allowed.
Oh, you have to say that again.
You really want me to become a collared person, eh? No, policies without a cost should not be allowed. We saw it with free SHS. As fantastic as it is, it bankrupted us. And now we want to write a law in a very hasty fashion because someone sees it as a legacy. The thing is that the ability to educate our young people till the age of 18, free of the burden of cost, is in our own interest. That's not a matter for debate.
Okay.
The next question then becomes, how do we pay for it? Because it won't be free. Teachers don't work for peanuts. They work for cash.
Yeah.
And the equipment costs money. So how we pay for this? That's the conversation we need to have. I was a young boy when we went into JSS and SSS. And even at that time, I kept asking myself, why didn't we bring more people into the existing schools and build more dormitories? Because they were the centers of excellence. Okay, there was an argument that you need to make it accessible, not just available. So let's build more of these institutions. But to do that, you then needed a competitive curriculum, well-trained teachers, and facilities. And on these three things, we've never achieved. We've never built enough facilities. We've never trained our teachers well. And we have never had a competitive curriculum. So the task ahead of us is to demand for these fundamentals so that a SNIT doesn't come back to us and say that, oh, my hotels are failing, they don't make money, so let me sell them. Your money bought it, your money built it, I'm going to sell it. And when you ask, he says, oh, the market is tough. Well, the market is tough in Aboblushi, but you don't see the market women packing up and going home. They make better investment decisions than SNIT.
The women at Aboblushi.
I tell you.
Malamata.
They are smarter.
Tuesday market.
They are smarter. So the Bible says, learn from the ant. Maybe SNIT should learn from those women.
Go to the ant, thou sluggard.
And don't get me started.
Oh my goodness. Michael Harry Yamson. He is an economist and also the managing partner of Ishmael Yamson and Associates. Zed Talk has gone beyond its time. I know. I'm being warned. I know. I deliberately went beyond my time because the conversation was a good one. I mean, it's so enlightening. But the final thing, we went and came back to SNIT, but looking what to build capacity, aggressively digitize this economy, especially our payment systems, incentivize made in Ghana, look for a way of, handling this debt. These four factors, anyone listening to us should be able to look at it and say, let's call this man and talk to him, and let's see how we go forward with this. If they call, would you pick?
Why not?
Okay.
I'm a Ghanaian.
That's a good one. Any final words before we take leave of you?
Get rid of the e-levy. It's a useless tax.
Get rid of e-levy. It's a useless task. It's an immoral task. So says the man himself. It's been Zed Talk. And I know we're in the final hour. We're talking to the man who climbed the tallest mountain. He scaled the tallest mountains.
He's my classmate, you know.
Okay. So he's also here. It's going to be an interesting conversation right here on Zed in the Morning.
Two Absunians, so you know.
St. Augustine's action could say. They are here. It's going to be interesting in the final hour. Zed in the Morning.
Lifestyle, Lurcher, and Business Radio.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on a journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital Digital, and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the New Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration.
On Zed in the Morning, customer service and experience moments. We're doing a quick one. Today is going to be less than a minute.
Where lifestyle meets leisure and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
and then Wednesdays are science and tech, and then the Thursdays are art, culture, and tourism. Thursdays, that's how we do it. And today, we're privileged, really privileged, to have with us Mr. Michael Amankwa, who happens to be the mental catalyst and entrepreneur, climb Mount Elbrus, tallest mountain in Europe. For me, it's where the conversation should start from. At elevation of more than 5,600, if you have a Ghanaian climbing it, maybe Makati Hill, I'm not sure I've finished my.
Good morning.
Welcome to Zed. Mountain. We'll come to the mental catalyst.
I've been an entrepreneur for probably almost 25 years. And a couple of years back, everything that could go wrong in my life, was going wrong. My businesses were not doing well. I was going south. I was in a romantic relationship that also headed south. And at one point, I was just lying in bed and I was like, I found tears dripping down my cheeks. And I was like, what's life really about? At that point, I had to decide whether I wanted to fight or give up. And I said to myself that, you know what? I think there's more to life than, succumbing to life challenges. So I decided to start walking 1,000 steps a day.
Oh, wow.
And I started doing that, and I realized that, okay, every morning at 5 a.m. I'll go and start walking. And I started realizing that I was feeling good doing it. And then I said, okay, if I had done that, then let me do a year's to Pediasi with the elevation, challenge myself a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And then I did that. And I said, oh, okay, well, it looks like the highest mountain in West Africa is Mount Afaja. Okay. Which is in Volta region, Afaja too. So I said, well, let me go just hike it and see. My first attempt at it, I struggled. The guide I went with, I'm sure he was very worried because every step I took, my heart was pounding and I was almost out of breath and all of that.
Was it because you were not in a good shape?
Well, I thought I was because I'd already been walking.
You
see, so that's the difference, right? So when you're, hiking a mountain, it's totally different from when you're walking on a flat land or a small elevation like a Yemensa. So then that gave me the realization that, well, I was not physically fit as I thought I was. So I had to intensify but I learned a lot through that experience of just walking and hiking and, getting to know my fitness level. So, but whilst I was doing that, I said to myself that, you know what, I think there's a lot of people out there just like me who are struggling in life. One moment you're up there, the next minute you're down and you're lost and you're dark. And as men, we don't share our emotions, our feelings.
Yeah, we are not supposed to.
Oh, yeah, we are not supposed to. Culturally, and all of that. And a lot of people are struggling. So I said, okay, then let me found, a club whereby I'm able to get people in there where primarily we take care of our physical health, our mental health, our spirituality and emotions. So you come in there, you do your 10,000 steps a day, and then you read a book a month, right? So that's how that got started. So when I started, then people started joining the club. And I said, okay, guys, watch me do something big, because I've realized that at the end of the day, success in life, happiness in life, it's a choice. So I'm going to summit the highest mountain in Africa. Watch me do it, okay? At that point, I didn't really know much about mountaineering and, all the things that, goes with it. But I had put it out there as a challenge for people to watch me do it with the aim to inspire them to also take on.
So you had no choice but to do it.
So I had no choice. So I took 10 months, to train for Kilimanjaro, which was in 2022, September 2022. 10 months. I did a Yemensa up and down for a week, but I did it 3 times every day. So I go all the way from the toll booth to Pediasi, come back down. That's one trip. I'll go and come back. So that took me about 7 hours a day. So I did that for 5 days. Then I took a week off to go live in Afajato in the village, and then did it 5 times, 5 days. So every morning we go up, come down 3 times a day. I did that as well. Then I went to Kilimanjaro, and at that point, social media had, picked it up. My followers had picked it up. We said, no plan B, we have to summit it. So the vim was there, the energy was right, the people were watching.
You couldn't disappoint.
I couldn't disappoint, man. So I did my Chami route in Kilimanjaro, Tanzania, 7 days, 6 nights. And when I got to the summit, it was the most beautiful thing. It's like space. It's
wow.
space. I mean, when you get to the summit, that's when the sun is rising. So you see the sun coming underneath the clouds. At that point, the clouds feel
beautiful.
No, it's beautiful. It's insane. I mean, look, my brother, it's like heaven. I've not been to heaven before, but it's just unique, And at that point, you're like, I'm on the tallest point in Africa. And mountains signify two things in my view, which is primarily opportunities and challenges. So if I can really reach that summit, what it means is that, look, whatever challenges I have in my life, I can overcome them, and whatever business opportunities that I pursue, I can equally succeed. So at that point, it all boils down to you defining what you want, putting in the preparatory work, and then giving it a go. And that's what I did to demonstrate to people. So when I did that, people got excited. So people now started walking and running and stuff like that. Not just in Ghana, across. I have people in the UK, US, Germany, different parts of Africa who are now beginning to. So that's how the mountaineering journey started. It was just a way to take care of myself, but now to inspire people.
Amazing. So from Kilimanjaro, then you started to do Russia.
So when I did Kilimanjaro in 2022, so I did that alone. So when I came back, I was like, okay, now what will be my next challenge? So what I decided to do was, I wanted to do something not just alone, but with a group of people. So at that point, I said, okay, why don't we cycle from Accra to Tamale and back to Accra? On a bicycle, not motorcycle, or bicycle. And, so I came, I got a couple of friends together, and then we decided to do that. So we cycled from Accra to Tamale and back in 9 days. And it was made up of a team of 7.
Professional cyclists?
No.
Average guys?
Normal. We all started learning how to cycle. I mean, obviously, we knew how to cycle, but not properly. You understand? So we took 5 months off. Every morning at 5 a.m., we'll go to University of Ghana campus, and we'll be cycling. We did that for 5 months. So November 1st to November, I think 10th, thereabout, we started the journey. And we cycled all the way from here to Tamale and back. But we did it primarily for a good cause. To raise mental health awareness. Because at that point, what mental health is a big deal to me, and it's something that I always like to advocate for people to know that, look, no matter what challenges you have, you don't necessarily have to be naked on the street to be mentally challenged. You can be sitting in front of me right now, maybe financially challenged, you're in a certain situation that challenge is really getting to you. And you have, an episode of mental health challenge. It's just the degrees of it. But a lot of times, you were talking about customer service and all of that. A lot of times the people who are sitting there,
they are not smiling.
They are not smiling because the person has some heat somewhere that they are not in the right frame of mind. They are having episodes, you understand? And all of these are things that we need to talk about. So we did that, and it was huge. It was huge because for normal, everyday people, it was myself, an entrepreneur, a lady called Anita Solomon, who is a banker, works at DBG, Julius Richardson, who is a music teacher, Pius Hayford, who is an architect, Enoch Aglevo, who is a security guard, and then 2 professional cyclists who were our coaches. So that, and then we did that all the way to Tamale and back, and people thought it was impossible. Even the professional cyclists were saying this was a suicide mission. But I have always believed that, look, as human beings, we are limitless and highly, capable. We create our own artificial barriers and we limit ourselves. So we did, we call it a success in motion, meaning that, look, in life, you always have to be in motion. You have to keep going. No matter how you feel, no matter what you're going through, you have to keep going. But you need to know where you're going as well, because you can be moving in the wrong direction, right? So you need to know where you're going. So we did that, and that was successful. So right after that, at that point, now people are looking up to me and say, okay, Michael, what's the next thing? And for me, what brings me joy now is being able to inspire people, motivate people to really consider living. Today, I say that a lot of people are existing because, you have breath. So you wake up, you can move your body parts, you're just going through the routines and all of that. But we are not purposefully and thoughtfully living. And I wanted people to start realizing that, look, life is truly beautiful when you make that decision to really live life on your terms. So I said, okay. Then as at that point, I've already been exposed to what we call the 7 summits. The 7 summits is the 7 highest mountains on all the 7 continents. So you have, Africa, which is Kilimanjaro. Yeah. You have Europe, which is Mount Elbrus. So in Europe, you have Western Europe, and then you have Eastern Europe. So in Western Europe, you have Mont Blanc, where you have the Tour de Mont Blanc, which it's around France, Switzerland, and Italy.
Yeah.
Then you have what is in Russia. So the Russia one, Elbrus, is
taller.
Okay, it's taller. But because of the media and all of that, we don't really hear of Russia and Elbrus more. But in terms of the continent, is the tallest or the highest. So then you have Mount Everest in Asia, which is in Nepal. You have Aconcagua, which is in Argentina. You have Cociosos, which is in Australia. Then you have one in Antarctica as well. So I said, look, you know what? I am going to summit all the 7 summits as a challenge.
Oh, you're kidding?
Well, that's what I intend to. God willing, I'll be able to do it. So,
you want to do Everest?
Yeah, I'm going to do Everest. Yes, I'm going to do Everest. So now I've done 2 now. You've
done Africa, you've done Europe.
Yes, we have Argentina coming up in February. That is close to 7,000 meters, and it's pretty high. I mean, it's tall. It takes about 3 weeks to do that. So that is going to be very challenging. Then
Elbrus is 5,000.
5,642. Kilimanjaro is 5,895.
Okay.
But the terrains are different. So even though Kilimanjaro is higher, Elbrus is more challenging because it's snow. You get it. On Kilimanjaro, you don't really you get to see the glaciers at the point, and depending on where you go, you may get some little
snow here and there.
But it's not like Elbrus where it is completely capped with snow. And you're talking about, and as Ghanaian living here, how often do you get to walk in the snow and all of that? So now, the equipment you use, the approach you use, and the methodologies and all of that is totally different from what you use when you are on, let's say, Kilimanjaro. Okay, so, and this challenges forces me to be in a certain zone. What it means is that at any point in time, I have to be physically fit. So it forces me to train and keep in shape on a daily basis. So as we speak, 5 a.m., I've already gone to do my morning exercise already, which I've done 10 kilometers of run already. I've already done that. I'm sitting in front of you as if nothing has happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so this challenges forces me to always be in the zone, pursuing bigger goals. It doesn't allow me to have distractions. A lot of times when you don't have goals and your purpose is well defined, anything distracts you. But because of what I have and the intentions behind it, I'm laser focused, and that is what brings me joy.
Laser focus, and that's what brings him joy. Mr. Michael Amankwa, the mental catalyst and entrepreneur, who is done Elbrus, 5,642. He's going to do Argentina. Then would you do Antarctica? Why would you do Antarctica?
Antarctica is, what is it? It has a name.
Is it not too far?
It's very far. It's very challenging to even get there. At the end of the day, it's going to cost about $250,000 to do all of the 7 summits. Everest can cost you about $150,000 because you get what you pay for, and if you want to make sure you're getting the right guides, the right support systems, and all of that, it comes expensive. Antarctica is alone about $52,000. Denali, which is the highest mountain in North America, which is in America, it's about $13,000.
How are you funding these?
So a lot of them is personal, and some of them also, I guess, sponsorship. Friends contribute, and stuff like that. As I've started, awareness is being created. So now I'm getting folks reaching out and say, "Hey, Michael, would like to support what you're doing," because the motivation is just to wake people up. That guys, the sky is the limit.
You think we're sleeping?
Oh, massively. Oh, massively. I mean, we all sleep largely. Sometimes we wake up, but we go back to sleep. What we need to do is to continuously be awake and moving. So what we lack is the consistency. So at the end, let's say 31st December, New Year is coming, your New Year resolution, everybody, we all do it. Go 2 weeks, 3 weeks into January, and everybody has given up, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we are not consistent. A lot of people say, I'm going to take my physical health seriously, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to do that. They pay for the gyms and all of those things, and then they quit. It's because we are not consistent. And what I find interesting is that when you don't have challenges that you are working towards, it's easy for you to quit or start making excuses. But because I personally, in my capacity, what I do as a mental catalyst, and sometimes people say, are you a motivational speaker? I'm not a motivational speaker. The difference is that I show you by me doing the things I talk about. So watch me do it, and I share the lessons and the challenges. So as I'm doing it, and I'm challenged, and I'm learning certain lessons, I'm also educating, entertaining my audience. So that's the difference. So I'm not just going to sit somewhere, read some books, watch some videos, and come and put some powerful words together, inspire you for a moment, and then leave you behind. No, I will carry you along, and you watch. So I seek to educate, to entertain, and then to inspire. That is why I do the things I do the way I do them.
It's your experience as an entrepreneur. Does it have anything to do with this new direction?
Yes, I mean, it's something that I'm happy that, because when I was asking about your audience and all of that, I was told that quite a number of them are corporate.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, I'm more an innovator, right? And it requires me to constantly be thinking about solving serious problems. I don't like doing small things. I like solving world's problems, things that impact millions and millions of people. And to do that, you always want to be in a certain state of mind. And when I was younger, I mean, I'm 53 now. When I was a lot younger, I used to tell people that, look, I want to be a billionaire in dollars. So right from the beginning, I was always driven. I would sleep 2 to 3 hours a day. I was in 7 countries. I was in Asia, constantly just pursuing business, and all of that. Because when you're young, you have the energy. They go like a bulldozer, But when I look back at it now, I realized that, look, okay, there's a time for that, but there's a smarter way. The smarter way is, look, take care of your physical health and your mental health first. That is non-negotiable. The mistake we all make is that we start pursuing wealth and the material things, thinking that, when you have that, you have arrived. That is the mistake. And I did it, and I know a lot of people who have done it and people who continue to do it. But I said to myself, Michael, flip the script. Take care of your mental health and your physical health. And when you do that, now you are ready and prepared and to take on the bigger challenges. Because every morning when I get out there to go and work out, and I do it with my team, a couple of friends here, and then we go out there. That morning in Legon, Legon is all like you have trees,
exactly,
the air is fresh, you're hearing the crickets, chirp, the birds chirp, the frogs croak, you're in nature. And sometimes you see beautiful, petals of flowers on the ground, sometimes the dew and all of that. And every morning when you're going through that emotion. So every morning, either we are cycling, or we are running, or we are swimming. You get to be in nature. But then whilst you're walking or running or cycling, you are thinking. And at the same time, I personally will be listening to some gospel music. So at that point, Charlie, I'm doing my quiet time with my maker. I'm having doing my contractings with him and all of that. Then I'm thinking about, okay, Charlie, what is my plan for today? What ideas do I have? What problems do I have to solve and all of that? So by the time I'm done, my day is already sorted in my mind. So at that point, I don't have stress, because what causes stress is the unknown. We don't know. We are not prepared. And that is what, causes us to be stressed. But that early morning, by the time I'm done, an hour and a half to whatever it is, I'm already sorted, feeling good, like solid, because you sweat. You sweat. So when you sweat, Charlie, you just know, you feel it, and you feel like your heart is pounding. You feel sometimes you feel a little bit tired, but the more you do, it gets to a point where you don't really feel the fatigue. You just enjoy what you're doing. But this is where it gets really, really powerful for me. When you take a rocket that's moving from Earth to space, let's say Elon Musk trying to move, Mars, the rockets and all of that, the rocket uses the most power and fuel on takeoff. Why? Because that's when it needs to fight the gravitational forces. Okay, before it crosses and gets into the atmosphere, where it's lighter and it doesn't. And as human beings, your early morning is the most important part of your day. And that is when you have to use the most energy to prepare for it.
Wow.
So that's what we call the boost phase. So 5 a.m., and there's a good book titled The 5 a.m. Club, which I recommend people to read. So 5 a.m. is when, Charlie, get out there and do your 1 hour. Non-negotiable. And that is when your day gets set. But a lot of times, that time, Charlie, people are still sleeping. Then you wake up and you just quickly brush your teeth, bath and get in your car and you rush to work. And you're not even together. So when you get to work, you're not even ready to take on, to be as productive as you can be. But this is what happens. And every morning, when you're doing, what I'm talking about, you start realizing that because of the consistency of your thoughts, your ideas become better.
Okay.
Are you getting how it works? And then that habit that you are forming through consistently training, now you can now transfer it to other aspects of your life. So even in our relationships as men, the biggest problem we have is that we are not consistent in love. We love the woman, but we are not consistent in love, right? 1 minute, we are doing the nice thing. The next minute, we are walking on our heads, behaving as if we are some monsters, right?
But it's hard.
That's hard. That is why you have to be consistent. But here's what makes it even more rewarding. You cannot climb mountains when you're not patient. So when you are walking on mountains, you don't walk your normal pace. You walk extremely slow. In Swahili, it's called pole pole.
Oh, rather.
Very, very slow. Yes, because you have to conserve your energy. You have to know where to step, how to step, and all of that. It's very crucial. So when you're, and people ask me, oh, why Ghanaian, black man? This is people asking me, are you sure you're a Ghanaian? Because you are doing things that Ghanaians or black people normally don't really do. But here's the thing. When you're climbing mountains, there's so many things you learn. You learn about perseverance. You learn about patience. You learn about strategy. So when you talk about corporate and all of those things, the KPMG, I think the wing the UK, every year they take their upper management, and then send them to Kilimanjaro to just go and hike. There's no way you can go and hike a mountain like Kilimanjaro and come back and be ordinary. You can't. Because there's so many things you learn that you can never learn in books. So when you learn patience, because when you're doing that, you're going to be patient, right? Now, when you come back in your own personal relationships like marriage or even work, as leaders, we need to be patient. We need to be compassionate. We need to leverage empathy and emotional intelligence. But at the core of that lies what? Patience. You understand? So right now, most people describe me as Michael. I'm always chill. I'm always calm because I've mastered it. Because I know that, Charlie, if I'm not chill, I can't deal. So you need to have that calm mind. So the exercise, the benefits of you exercising through the consistency and all of those things, now you can transfer it to different aspects of your life. Even church, going to church on Sundays. Sometimes, Charlie, as guys, we go, then we no go, and then we go, then we no go. But you need to consistently, take, make sure that your spirituality, you don't necessarily have to be going to church to have a good spiritual life, but you need consistency in your spirituality. So if you're a person of faith and going to church and worshiping with others is also critical, then you want to make sure that you're also consistent there. So now you start realizing that now you have a toolkit or reservoir of skills, habits, and the way to do things that now you can leverage them in so many different aspects of your life.
Exactly. I mean, that for me is a key point you just made. That what you learn from this then becomes something you leverage elsewhere. So it's not as if you're going to church for, but you're acquiring something, and that thing becomes that consistency in your life. Exactly. So when you have to do business, the consistency is there.
It's there.
Mr. Kweku Youngson, a very good morning to you wherever you are. Wish you the very best of the day. I know it's 25 minutes to the top of the hour. That means we have just 20 minutes to go. The conversation is getting interesting by the minute. And also, we're learning some of the things I've written out. You know me, I do a lot of writing, and I'm learning so much. So now, from rock bottom, you've gone to the very highest. From rock bottom, lying down with tears streaming down your face. Now you've climbed the highest. What are some of the biggest obstacles you faced during the climbs, and how did you overcome them?
So let me look at Kilimanjaro. I think there are two key big ones. One is, I'm the only child of my parents, and my parents are not happy with, this my new adventurous life. Yeah. And my dad, does much, so it's not too expressive. Just as I bless you, just be careful. But my mom is always emotional about it. So the summit night is where now you're actually now tackling the mountain to get to the very top. And that one you start at midnight. So at midnight, we walk for about 7 hours at night with headlamps. You don't know where it's like you're walking just endlessly. You're just going. So the night before we're about to, at midnight, before we're about to start, I get a WhatsApp, from my mother. My mother leaves me a very emotional WhatsApp begging me to not do it. Just stop. And I love my mother to the moon and back. And I'm like, Mom, Charlie, this is where you catch. Where I catch there, I can't stop. And the number of people on social media say, Charlie, no plan B, we go conquer, and all of that was there, So on an emotional level, that was the hardest. But the other most difficult thing was, after I was done with Kilimanjaro, what people don't know is that the most dangerous thing about mountaineering or climbing mountain is not the going, but it's the coming down. Because you spend your energy going up.
Okay.
But now the descent. Now the reason why they make you climb the thing at night is that if you see during the daytime, it's like walking to heaven. There's no way you can go.
Oh, okay.
But at night, you can't see where you're going. You understand? But the moment you are done, now you have to descend. And that is the hardest part. The descent. At that point, you've already used your energy, the motivation that you had, the vim that you had. You've already reached the summit. But what else? But now is the coming back.
If you're not careful.
And that's where a lot of people die, on the descent.
Ooh.
Because at that point, why you're weak, your legs are, and all of that, mentally are not there. And the mountaineering, climbing these things, it's primarily mental. It's primarily because physically, a lot of times you can override your fatigue and all of that, but it's mental, where you want, because a lot of people quit. Because then you're like, nobody's paying me to do this. Why am I doing it and all of that? The different voices are hitting you. So, but then at that point, it's you against the world and the elements. So that's where the personal development comes in. You want to know who you are. So when I'm doing these mountaineering things, I'm like, who am I? How far can I go?
Because discovering yourself.
Yes, you're discovering yourself. So in life, it's about personal discovery, development, and self-mastery. These are the three things that you want to know. At any point, you need to know who you are. And the only way to know who you are is when you intentionally pursue it. A lot of us don't do that. We don't know who we are. We think we do, but significantly, we don't know who we are because we have not deliberately gone searching for who we are. You understand?
Amazing.
Are you getting what's happening? So now when I descended on Kilimanjaro, I got to my hotel room and I realized that I was struggling to breathe. So I had kidney infection, lung infection. So I think I caught a bacteria. So now even just breathing was a challenge. When I lie on my side, it was a challenge, So at that point, I was like, let me hurry and come to Ghana and get myself checked. So that was the most difficult thing that I experienced when I did Kilimanjaro. But then when I went to Elbrus, in Russia, the summit night when we were climbing, we started at 3 a.m. I was having this pounding headache, then fever. And I was like, this is not normal. But physically, I knew I was okay because, I had, the 2 weeks before, I had gone to do Afajato 10 times. Go up and down, go up and down, up and down 10 times. It took me 10 hours to do that, right? So I knew that physically I was there. But then now, the headache and the fever. And now the terrain was also different. And you're wearing what we call the crampons. Crampons are like the spikes that you wear under your boots.
Okay.
The boots you're wearing are special boots, very heavy because of the cold and the snow and all of that, because you can get frostbite and then you have issues. And now this mountain, when you're climbing it, it's so narrow. There are parts where it's so narrow that a wrong step to the left or right, you are going down. And when you go down, that's your end.
Of course.
So in climbing it, I realized that, and the beautiful thing about Elbrus region is that it's so beautiful, the nature. It's an environment where you have so many mountains, and then you also have beautiful vegetation.
Okay.
You understand? And the view is stunning. It's like stunning. So I was like, okay, I wanted to enjoy the view. But I also realized that the way I was feeling, the fever and the headache, I had to abandon the view. I had to focus on my step, because any wrong step, I'll be done. And there's a key lesson there. In life, you always need to know, at certain times, you just need to know the one thing that you need to focus on that takes you to the next step. A lot of times, because we don't know, we are so focused on so many different things, and we are far stretched, and we are not optimally successful. So at that point, and this is why I was talking about the lessons you learn when you put yourself out there in nature and you're challenging yourself. Because at that point now, I had to leverage strategy. Okay. I had to devise a strategy that, Michael, at this point, the most important thing now is what? Abandon everything else. Just concentrate on your one step in front, a step in front of the other, foot in front of the other. At that point, like that. And you can see the summit, and it's far. And your mind is telling you that, Charlie, this one there, why, that. And you're seeing other people quit and they're returning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's hard. And the wind is also like, it's coming in and it's piercing cold and you are shivering a little bit here and there. So no, it's like you're being challenged across board, and then your mind is telling, but you're like, what? Your eye is locked in on the goal. You're like, I'm going to get to it. So when we finished and we came back, and then from there we went to Moscow 2 days, and then we came back to Accra. But when we came back to Accra, I realized that at night my fever was severe. I'll break out a severe fever. Then I started coughing heavily. So then I went to the hospital and they said, Charlie, I'd gotten a bacterial infection, because at the elements and those heights, a lot of times you catch.
Yeah.
So, but when I was doing Elbrus at the top and I was walking, I knew Elbrus was done in my mind, but then I was realizing how difficult Everest will be. How challenging, how dangerous it will be, But this is what happens, to us a lot of times. We defeat ourselves before we even consider the thing that we want to do.
Oh, okay.
You see? Because the mere mention of Everest, people say, oh, no,
I was worried.
Yes, but here's the thing. Other human beings have done it and continue to do it. But the more you start working towards it, your strategy, your plan will inform you as to, look, how do you succeed? So once I was on Elbrus, finishing, getting to the summit, I was not thinking about Elbrus. I was thinking about the last, most difficult, challenging bit, which is Elbrus. You see how the thing works?
Oh, wow.
So now when you put, and I also tell people that, look, here's the other thing about life. In life, as human beings, life challenges are going to come at us. The tsunamis and the storms are going to come at us where we don't have control. And when they come, a lot of times we fumble and then we crumble and then we fall. But when you create your own natural challenges and you go through them, you're building a character. You're becoming resilient. You're becoming stronger in so many ways that when life now decides to surprise you, you're like,
is that the best you
got? Is that the best you got? Try me. You don't say why me. You say try me.
Okay.
Because you understand. And for me, it's one of the most beautiful things I have learned from this experience of constantly challenging myself. Do you get it? Because the more you challenge yourself, the more you are going to learn through that experience. And through that experience, you're also going to fail. Today, a lot of us are scared of failure. I embrace failure. I love it when I fail. Because in that process of failing, I learn. And failure is fatal when you quit.
Okay.
When you quit, when you
learn.
When you learn, you continue. You adapt. Then you continue and you go. Because so there are times when on the mountain, you make a move and you realize that, no, this move that you have made, it's not going to take you to where you have to go. So you have to come back and then use a different route. So in life, sometimes you can, it's okay to come back.
It's okay
to come back and then regroup and then move forward.
That's a powerful lesson. It's okay to come back.
It's okay to come back.
We fear failure so much that
yes.
But people will laugh at you. You came back? Seriously? Why? So because of that, we will go the wrong way.
Yes, you continue or you don't even go at all.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that holds us back. There are two key things that holds us back as human beings: laziness and fear.
Okay.
That is why a lot of us like to be comfortable. We will not try new things because we are afraid of failure.
Wow.
Okay, and then we are also lazy. We are also lazy. But I am a living testimony of it. I have friends who have died. I have friends I had a friend who had $9 million to pick up in receivable. My brother did not even see the money and he died. We sit here, we think tomorrow is promised. It's not promised. So every moment you have, make the most of it. Make the most of every moment you have. And continuously seek what self-development. I always tell guys that, look, reading, we don't read. When you don't read, you're not in the game of life.
When you don't read, you're not in the game
You're not in the game of life because the knowledge that you got from school is dead and gone. It's dead and gone. So you have to be intentional about knowledge acquisition. And when you do that, you become imaginative. So the guys who are ruling the world are people who are imaginative. What is Elon Musk doing? He's imaginative. All the guys who rule the world are imaginative. And what they also do is that they spend time in knowledge acquisition. So one of the things I do personally is every day I do 200 minutes of reading. My yearly target for reading is 52 books. Today I'm reading a book titled Super Communicators. Super Communicators.
So I'm not weird because I read a lot.
You are not. That's the smart thing to do. That is the smartest thing to do, is to read like you're crazy. Get off social media and all of those things. Dedicate your time. So every day you need to plan it. Your physical health, your mental health. Your mental health comes with you know how you're feeling and all of that, and then the knowledge acquisition. Then your spirituality and your emotions. We ignore our emotions. At any point in time, I ask myself, how am I feeling? So at any point in time, I know how I'm feeling. So when I'm feeling anxious, I'm unhappy, I'm sad, I am whatever it is, I know how I'm feeling. So it informs how I deal with you. You get me? So like last week, my daughter who goes to school in the UK needed some money, and she had asked for it a couple of weeks back, and I hadn't sent the money to her. And then she sent me a text message, and the text message sounded like she felt she was entitled. Like, Daddy, you're supposed to give me this money.
Yeah.
And at that point, when the text came, I was not in the good mood because I was expecting some money from some business somewhere that I think had not come. So I was already frustrated. When I saw the text, I was going to reply to her, in anger. But then I remembered that, look, Michael, leverage, empathy, and emotional intelligence. So I didn't reply. I just said, okay, I'll get back to you. So after I got the money to her a couple of days afterwards, then I sent her a text. I said, sweetheart, I love you so much. But this text that you sent, you could have said it this way. Say, Daddy, I really need it. These are the reasons why I really need it. These are the implications if I don't get it. So please, I know you always do your best. May you please try, And then when I sent her the message in love, she received it positively and also replied and said, Daddy, thank you so much and I love you. And today when I was running and I was thinking about it, I was like, this is the message I want to share. We need to be what? Patient, compassionate, empathetic, and leverage emotional intelligence. And to do that, at the core of it is you knowing how you feel and how the other person may. So let's say you are, even if your own spouse, you could go home and Charlie, you had a terrible day.
Yeah.
And your spouse can just say one thing innocently and trigger. and trigger. And a lot of times we burn bridges because of we are not in tune with our emotions to know how to interact and deal with people. And then if somebody hits back at me, and a lot of times I'll smile because I'm trying to understand where is the person coming from. I'm not looking at whether I am right. No, it's not about me being right. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, so that way I can manage the situation better for us to have an opportunity to continue our friendship.
You don't get angry in traffic.
No. Because the moment I allow you to make me angry, that means you've defined me. That means you own me. So you can't make me angry. No. It's impossible. Me and you, I will not mind you. No. If it is, I'll tell you, Charlie, look, it's okay. Let's talk later. Wow. Let's cool off, and then we come back. And here's the thing. If you have yours, and I use the spouse and all of that because a lot of guys have heat from those areas. If you don't have your spouse or your partner or your companion, or whatever it is, you're not talking. Even if you're not talking, it's cold war. Just say, let's go for a walk. Don't talk. Just go for a walk together. Don't talk. She can be behind you, can be in front of whatever. Don't talk. You come back, you realize that the cold war you're having, there's no need for it. Don't talk.
Amazing.
Are you getting me? So these are all little things that you learn. And one of the things I want to leave your audience with is, guys, when you start living a life of purpose, life is beautiful. I dreamt of being a billionaire in dollars. What I have discovered, the life that I live today, is worth more than all the money in the world. When you go to bed,
a life of purpose.
A life of purpose. Because, for example, if a plane is going to London, it doesn't have a flight plan. The plane takes off, it to go to run out of fuel and crash. And that's how most of us live our lives. There is no plan. There's no purpose. There's no goal. There's no objective. You need to know your purpose and the meaning of that purpose. So as a mental catalyst, I've dedicated the rest of my natural life to helping people transform their mindset for personal growth and then for them to live their lives to their full potential. That is why I will come and then have the conversations that we're having, because I know somebody listening out there is going to say, you know what, it's about time I own my life. And design the life that you want. You may not get it instantly, but design it. You desire it, then you design it, then you work towards it. And look, I am a living testimony, and it works. When you find yourself in that realm, it's not about money anymore. It's not about material things. Because the houses that we are pursuing, how many are you going to sleep in? The cars we are talking about, how many cars are you going to drive? Our footballer, Prince Kevin Boateng, said, look, one day he decided to go and buy 3 cars. Just in a go, thinking that would make him feel good. After a week, he realized that he was not feeling any better. You understand? So a lot of times we think that the material, those things have their place. But let's be smart. Let's make our health the priority. Because if you are sick in bed or in the hospital, Charlie, what use is the money? Today, a lot of the young ones are dying. Gone too soon, painful exit,
What a shock.
What a shock. It's hypertension, diabetes. Because we don't appreciate life for us to be mindful. And another key word is mindfulness. At any point in time, you need to be mindful, you need to be conscious. A lot of us just go through life like zombies, like robots. Every day, boom, boom, boom. The same routine. By the time you realize 5 years is gone, a decade is gone. And you don't understand why you are still where you are and you've not advanced in life. And you think it's your house people who are doing you or your village people who are doing you. It's the choices you make. So you have to be intentional about life. You have to be intentional. If you want to be lazy, you won't get far. But here's the thing about success. Action defeats fear.
Action defeats fear.
Action defeats fear. Take that.
Whatever you are afraid of, begin to take action towards
it. Begin to take action towards it.
And the fear dissipates.
You realize that fear cries no fear. It's nothing. It's an illusion. As we sit here right now, myself and a couple of my friends, we are training for the Ironman Challenge. Ironman Challenge is a triathlon. You swim in the open ocean, in the sea.
You cycle.
You cycle and you run. And I've never been an athlete. I'm not a physical type of a person. But as we speak now, 2025, we are going to go to Italy to go and do Ironman. So right now, every day, Charlie, we are all training to go and do it. Now, here's the fear. When I was young, my mother would say, Charlie, don't play with the CEO. You're my only child. Don't do this, don't do this. Now, I'm learning how to swim. University of Ghana swimming pool. I'm learning how to swim. Is it easy? Of course, no, it's difficult. But every day, I go. And the more I go, the more I realize that I'm getting better and better. And I can see myself swimming in the ocean. But it's happened because what? Action is taking away that fear.
Doesn't money come before you have the time to do all of this?
You see, and I love that question. I used to think it was that, but it isn't. when you read, you're heavily read, you realize that a lot of the successful people or the books that have been read on philosophy, wisdom, and all of that, they don't talk about money.
No, they don't.
They talk about a good life, good health. That's the foundation. Today, I rarely spend money. Not because I have a lot of money, I don't. But right now, the things that matter to me are free.
Okay.
You see? But you think money, because Charlie, if you be chilling, you want to go and drink, expensive.
Okay.
You want to flex, so you go and buy a Range Rover that you can't afford. You want to have a house in all the things in it you can't. So you put all of this pressure on you, and you think that it's money. But the things that give you joy and that the things that really matter are primarily free. Why did God give us nature? The valleys, the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, and all of those is why. Why? And it's therapeutic. Let me give you a statistic. If you walk in nature 30 minutes, 3 times a week, it can increase your lifespan from 5 to 20 years. So we have University of Ghana here, beautiful campus with all the trees. Yeah, just even if you drive through it, you don't even walk. 30 minutes, 3 times a week, your life improves. The quality of your life improves.
Amazing.
Yes.
We have just a minute to go. I'm just blown away by this conversation. Unleashing your potential, crafting an extraordinary life. This one is the clearest definition of an extraordinary life. The life out of our ordinary life. He's a mental catalyst and entrepreneur. Michael Amankwa is his name, and he's done 2 of the mountains already. 5 more to go. Okay, Vincent Massive.
Yes, Vincent Massive.
Vincent Massive. That's the Antarctica one. He's going to do Vincent Massive too. He will do Everest too. How many Black Africans have done Everest?
It's very few.
Wow.
Very few. The last Kenyan who went died.
It doesn't scare you? Oh, action defeats fear.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm aware of death.
Okay.
You have a sense of fear given the risk when you process it. And that's where the boys are separated from the men.
Okay.
You're like, okay, yes, I'm scared. But you know what? I can intelligently figure a way around it. But let me try. Because you never know how far you can go until you try anything. A lot of times we think, oh, we can't, so we stop. Right? We stop. But the only way you can know is when you try. So I know that I can die when I do, any of these mountains. I mean, it's there. The success rates are not high, apart from the small ones that you start. But when you're going to the bigger one, Denali and Aconcagua and Everest and all of that, Everest, you have to be on there 3 months. 3 months on the mountain. And you're talking about altitude sickness, you're talking about avalanches, you're talking about rock falls, you're talking about so many different things that can go wrong. You understand? But when you are a person of faith, that's why your spirituality, you can't joke with it. Your physical health, you can't joke with it. Your mind. So all your faculties, all of those 4, according to the 4 pillars, they all have to be on point. Now, let me leave this one with you. You take a car. I'm sure you have a car. Your car has probably 4 tires. One represents your physical health. One represents your mental health. One represents your emotions. And the other one represents your spirituality. If your car tire, one is deflated, flat, puncture, it can't move. The car cannot really move well or even move, whatever.
Yeah.
So imagine the 4. Today, a lot of us are living our lives where all our 4 tires are what? Deflated.
We're going nowhere.
We are going nowhere. But you're alive, but you're not going anywhere. You see how it works? You're not going anywhere. But imagine where your tires are fully pumped to the manufacturer's recommended PSI level. Charlie, where can't you go?
Where can't you go?
Where can't you go? So the choice is yours. The choice, it doesn't matter your background, your history, where you come from, whether you've been poor, you were brought up in a village and all of those. It doesn't. It's about the line you draw now, and it's about how you move forward.
Mr. Michael Amankwa, this conversation would have to go on and on and on and on. It's been amazing having you on Personal Development Mondays right here on Zed in the Morning. We wish you the very best. ZFM will support you anyway, anyhow that we can. We will do that. Thank you so much. Listeners, it's just 3 minutes to 9, and all too soon, the day's work is done. We're signing out of here. My name is Jerry Hom. Coming up is the news, and then after the news is NYA, the brand with the brighter side. As always, we'll leave you with that one statement. I've made that statement. Next 2 weeks will be exactly 6 months since I started making that statement. It means I'm not going to stop. Pray like it only depends on God, but please go work like it only depends on you. Have a good one, people. We'll do this again tomorrow.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the new Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure and business platform.